What's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday. We are making the turn on this work week of ours. Thanks for making us a part of your start. If you are already up and at it on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, available to stream and listen online at sportstalk1051.com, WAYYradio.com. You've got your app. Download that. Take it on the go. Smart devices like your smart speakers, like your Alexa, and video stream up and rolling on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that bell. Ring that bell on the YouTube page. Would appreciate some more subscribers and followers on that. You could bring it up on your TV. Okay, you could do that too. So, man, what do we have on our game plan this morning? Well, we maybe got a little bit of a look into the future last night with the NBA draft, the Bucks with 2 selections, the 10th overall pick, the 13th overall pick. I know it was announced as Miami, but I mean, come on, no, it was, the Bucks also said that was their pick. So just weird rules when it comes to the NBA and that. But nonetheless, and it was actually 2 names that has widely been kind of mocked to the Bucks too. So it worked out in that sense. First up, number 10, they go with the guard from Arizona, Braden Burries. So Braden Burries was the 10th overall pick, and with the 13th overall pick, the name I feel like that was attached with the Bucks since the beginning of when they found out, they were going to have the 10th overall pick. Widely mocked, the most popular mocked player, but they got him at number 13, the forward from Tennessee, Nate Amons. So those are your first 2, or those are your 2 picks, because the Bucks right now don't have a pick for the second round tonight. But maybe a little bit of a glimpse into the future of the Milwaukee Bucks. John Horst, he talked yesterday, but not really addressing the Bucks trade of one Giannis Antetokounmpo. So, but he said, we're building. These guys are important to it. We're just really excited to continue to build and to add on piece and piece and create an identity, a style of play, a roster full of character and versatility and size. Got a lot of work ahead of us, but it's a good start. When he was asked to sum up the last 24 hours, he simply just said, busy. So, but we'll go through it, and I'm not going to pretend to be an NBA draft expert. Okay, my wheelhouse is NFL drafts, but we're going to go through what the experts had to say about the picks for the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll go straight to the experts. So, okay, so plenty of hoops chats here this morning, but not to be outdone. Last night, another dominating performance from the Brewers pitching staff. Brewers picking up a win last night, 2-0 win. Again, not a ton of offense, but Brewers pitching, well, they're holding up their end of the bargain here. Brandon Sproat, because we got Shane Drowan tonight. Brandon Sproat dominating. 6 innings, 1 hit, no walks, 10 Ks. Easily the best start of his Brewers career, in my opinion. Dude was awesome. Ashby, Uribe getting credited with the holds, and then Trevor McGill locking it down for the save. Brewers pitching just giving up 2 hits, not issuing a single walk last night, and striking out 13. The Brewers offense doing just enough with their 5 hits to collect a couple of runs and to hold on to victory. But again, another kind of, if you like offense in your baseball, you probably, it was another game you're maybe a little bit bored at. I don't know. But I think the big thing to take away from last night was a fantastic performance from Brandon Sproat. Just an absolute gem to go those 6 innings, not to issue a walk, only issuing 1 hit and striking out 10. So, fantastic. Brewers will go for the sweep tonight and look to go 20 games above 500. They're 48-29 as we open up this morning. And on the mound for the Brew Crew tonight is going to be Shane Drowan. So we'll preview this game, recap last night's win, preview this game before a big series coming up this weekend against the Chicago Cubs. But let's take care of business first, and let's get this W, and let's get another sweep here. So baseball talk coming your way throughout this morning. Since it is a Wednesday, here's your 2 Wednesday segments. What If Wednesday. Give me some what ifs. You guys have been awesome at this. Give me some fun what ifs. Like what ifs in the sports world. What if yada, yada, yada. And then we kind of like, hey, what if, like, for example, okay, what if the Bucks did trade Giannis? What are they doing this offseason? Well, I think they should do this. I think they should do that. They'd probably do this, but, have a little fun. Okay? So that's your what if. And what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What's like a sports thing that's out there, a story, a news nugget, or a narrative, or a play? It's pretty open-ended here. But give me what are we doing here? Like, maybe, again, it's just a very generic example. Maybe you don't like the package that the Bucks traded for Giannis, where you're like, what are we doing here? Why those guys? Well, like what? Or maybe on the flip side, if Tyler Hero, there's some speculation whether he's going to be there or not. Maybe like, what are we doing here? Keep him. Sign him. Why are we overthinking this? Why are we, I'm just throwing out examples. So, best ones, I'll read up on the air. Okay, hit me up. We got that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or on the Section 105 chat room on the video stream. Maybe you're like, what are we doing here with the NFL not having a supplemental draft? So add another element to the whole drama that is going on with the Sorsby situation. So, yeah. All right. That's our game plan for us this morning. Let's pitter-patter. Let's get at her, shall we? Let's open up things. We're gonna do a little bit of a smorgasbord here in the first hour. We'll talk a little hoops. Hey, if you are a Bucks fan, if you are a Packers fan, or it's not Packers. I don't know why I just said Packers, because I just saw there's a really good piece on The Athletic by Michael Silver about Antonio Freeman and his son at the World Cup. That's why it was in the corner of my eye. If you are a Bucks fan or a big hoops fan and you want to chime in on the Bucks picks from last night, I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, we'll go through that, and then we'll recap last night's epic pitching performance again from the Brewers. We'll take our first break, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes to get things going on the leadoff. Hey, don't forget to follow, subscribe. I hate using that word subscribe, but that is the proper word because it makes it feel like you got to pay and that. But follow the Man Cave podcast wherever you get your podcasting from, like Apple or Spotify. And seriously, if you could just take like a few seconds on Apple to leave a positive review or 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify, that helps us spread the word because I've got just give you a little heads up. I'm going to be out next week. All right. Just start my annual week off after my kid's birthday and such, and just take a little time to recharge and set. But I've got some stuff coming down the wire here for the Man Cave podcast. So want to get that going up here too. So I need your help and I need your support. So if you could do that, be a friend, tell a friend. Y'all got Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Share it up over there too, and maybe I'll send you something as a thanks if you can help out. So go ahead if you can. Go ahead and do that. Would appreciate that. So hey, and got a cool thing coming up for our next Tailgate Thursday for the Eau Claire Express, July 16th. The pregame to 40, man. Where I'm going to turn the big 4-0. We're going to have quite the tailgate party for July 16th. So make sure you get your tickets, and I might have some tickets to give away too. But if you want to secure that spot, you should get your tickets now. More details to come. Just going to finalize some of those. So Brian joining in early this morning on the Card Collecting Club, chiming in about the Brew Group. Sprouts, Harrison, Woodruff, Miz are looking great. Still have Henderson coming back in July. This rotation could be the one we need to beat the Braves or the Dodgers down the stretch. I'm going to talk some Brewers coming up here in a little bit. I do want to begin this morning kind of talking about the draft from last night because, well, given the last 48 hours, a little less than 48 hours with the Milwaukee Bucks, it's been eventful, and it's been a change. It's been a new chapter in Milwaukee Bucks history. And maybe we got a glimpse of what the future is going to be. We have no idea what their 2 draft picks are going to pan out. We're hoping that they're going to be good players. We're hoping that Braden Burries and Nate Amons are going to be long-term fixtures within this franchise. But we don't know. It seems like the potential is there for these youngsters. One's 19, one's 20. But it's not going to be – these aren't guys from – I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but they're not going to be like a LeBron James instant contributor right away. Might have to be a little patient and grow. And honestly, that is one thing, too, that I feel the Bucks kind of – didn't do the greatest of jobs. We talk about John Horst and the Bucks not drafting well, but I just feel like they've done a poor job of helping these picks grow and get better, and maybe sometimes pick it. And in the NBA, a lot of those guys do that though too, right? I mean, a lot of those guys are haven't really gotten a chance, as I guess what I'm saying here is so. But again, I'm not gonna, I'm not the NBA draft expert, so I go to the experts out there that know these players in a little bit more detail. So let's play the announcements from last night and hear the commentary from Jay Billis and company. Jay Billis, for my money, in just my opinion, he's my favorite. He's my go-to college basketball analyst. So what he has to say, I kind of listen to a little bit more. But this was from last night's audio, courtesy from ESPN here after the Bucks made the selections of their 2 picks and kind of the chat about them. So let's hear it again. Audio courtesy from the mothership, ESPN. If it wants to play for me.
With the 10th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Braden Burries from the University of Arizona.
After helping Arizona get to the Final Four, Braden Burries is on his way to Milwaukee, and I'm half surprised, guys, that his family didn't show up here today with those famous T-shirts with his face on them that they wore all season long to his games, which I just love. But Burries, he led Arizona in scoring, just over 16 a game, and his college coach, Tommy Lloyd, describes him as a laid-back, unassuming guy, and it makes sense because he listens to gospel music before games to calm him down, and Bobby, you've called him the silent assassin.
Well, I do. I mean, I got to sit down with him and talk, and he was a man of few words here, but the one thing I did learn is that he loved watching those Chicago Bulls teams back in the day of Tom Thibodeau, and now he's a stone throw away in Milwaukee here, and here's a big guard, 6'4", 215, grab and go, offensive rebounder here. He's got some toughness with him.
What does a Burries hero backcourt start to look like?
Two guys that can really shoot it and have some toughness to them. And, you know, Braden Burries is from San Bernardino. Really good player in high school, very highly regarded. But this last year, he was number 3 in the country in plus-minus behind Yaxel Lendeborg of Michigan and Cameron Boozer of Duke. He impacts winning. He's a smooth shooter, very skilled, fundamentally sound, and he's got really good speed. And he makes really impressive plays at both ends of the floor. I mean, the scoring stands out, his open court ability, but he makes defensive plays. He had a huge block at the end of the game against BYU on the road that wound up saving the game when BYU made an amazing comeback. But he's an instinctive defender, gets steals, and he makes the play that's required.
Are you one of the millions surprised by Rob?
So that was Jay Billis at the end there, talking a little bit about Burries. And the part that I kind of want to highlight there at the end. Now, we all get excited about, hey, you hear about the scoring, you hear about, his vision, and the plus-minus thing I think is a great little nugget there too. That could, because as Jay Billis said, that impacts winning, right? Your plus-minus, that impacts winning. But this was a little bit of a nugget from his scouting reports that there's a player comp on here that goes to the point that Billis was making about stealing. And the player comp is Drew Holiday. So this was from his draft profile. Burries' blend of size, toughness, shooting, and defensive versatility highlights the traits of a future all-star caliber talent. He can play on and off the ball and has the ability to impact the game in multiple areas. He figures to see immediate burn thanks to his well-rounded game and projects as an NBA-ready contributor early on. The Arizona product draws comparisons to guards like Derek White and Drew Holiday, though continued growth as a lead playmaker will be a key part of Burries' development. And some of the other stuff that I was reading about him notes that he probably needs to develop a little bit more as a prototypical point guard, as a prototypical, guy bringing the ball up the court. He's got the pedigree. Both of his parents played college basketball, so he comes from a basketball family, and a big guard sitting there at 6'4". So, I like it. I like the pick. I think we need playmakers. He seems to be a pretty solid playmaker. Played some big-time college basketball at the University of Arizona. They were a fantastic team last year, even if you don't know a whole lot about the player, but you know a little bit about the team. You know that they were a fantastic team last year. So I'm definitely intrigued. Now, the guy that was attached, projected, mocked to the Bucks since like the beginning, Nate Amons. He was a selection for number 13 for the Bucks. The Heat made it, but with the understanding that it was going to Milwaukee as part of the Giannis trade. Let's hear that pick from last night too.
With the 13th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Miami Heat select Nate Amon from the University of Tennessee.
You can see him getting the call right here that Nate Ament is headed to the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, the pick says Miami. He is headed to Milwaukee, the freshman forward out of Tennessee. He really left an impression with his size and his skill, and he's got room to grow. And I mean that both metaphorically and physically, because doctors say that his growth plates are still open. And Ament told our Mark Spears that he believes he has the best upside, he said, in the draft, and he's not even scratched the surface of the player that he believes he can grow into in the NBA. His coach, Rick Barnes, said that Ament is everything you would want here in a player, Bobby.
Well, and I think the biggest thing, too, is that he played hurt towards the end of the year and still averaged 7.5 free throw attempts in the last 10 games here, 2.3 assists. He is a big, and he's going to, as you said, he's going to develop into that body here, and he goes to a Milwaukee team that added Braden Burris. I had them 8 and 11 on my draft board here. I think they've got two really good young players.
There's some big shoes for him to fill here in Milwaukee, Andrea.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit there, and I'm going to get back to it here in a second, but he is like the definition of a prospect, potential, room to grow. And I know there's already people on social media saying, well, they're saying a lot of the same stuff that they did about Giannis. Kind of grow. That's not fair to Nate Ament. But the growth spurt, the growth plates, he's 6'10", and potentially could still have some room to grow. This one you might have to be a little bit more patient with, Bucks fans. But can the Bucks also be patient? Because I think that's been a downfall from the Bucks over the years too. Is as of late, and I get it. When you have a Giannis player, you want to win now. But let's listen to a little bit more here.
He is so versatile. The versatility of Nate Ament. You can put him in a ton of different positions. His size and length alone are a great place for any NBA team to see potential. 6'9" forward, 6'11" wingspan, but he moves with fluidity, and he has a solid foundation skill set-wise.
Yeah, he's a skilled, graceful athlete, and all he really lacks is strength. Not that he doesn't have strength, but that's the next thing for him to add at a higher level. And he was tested. I mean, people came after him to play at him physically because that's where they thought they could take advantage of him. But he answered the call. And to Bobby's point, he got fouled a lot. Like, he stuck his nose in there and got to the free throw line. His three-point shooting is there. He only shot 33%, but he made over 40 of them. But he's got the stroke. Excellent mid-range game. He can affect the game on the defensive end. He's a top 10 talent that got taken at 13.
All right, so there you go. That was Jay Billis at the end there. A 3-and-D type of player. Can shoot the three, can defend out on the perimeter. He's already, I would say a physical player, but could potentially be really good if he gets into that weight room. And I got to imagine that's what the Bucks are going to do here is, like, let's get you to the weight room right away. Let's add some more muscle onto this thing. Because if he's not afraid of contact, and he's not afraid to get physical down there, and if he adds some more muscle to that, the potential is definitely there for him to be a really good player. Now, this was also a part of his draft profile, a little bit of a scouting report on him. Says Ament's blend of height, ball handling, playmaking, and foul drawing ability makes him an enticing prospect. He fits the mold of a modern multi-positional creator who can run pick and roll, operate off movement, and punish mismatches. Ament's game at his size can draw comparisons to NBA players like Brandon Ingram, Andrew Wiggins. The shooting will determine where his ceiling lands, but everything else in the toolkit is already translatable. So to sum up these two players, the potential is definitely there. The prospect is definitely there. And there's definitely, I think, some excitement there. And I think the emotions are still raw for a lot of Bucks fans, including myself, that, Giannis isn't going to be there anymore. But I think with an eye towards the future, you look at these two guys, these two young players coming in. And again, we don't know how it's all going to work out. And any draft, whether it's the NFL, whether it's the NBA, whether it's Major League Baseball, the potential I mean, that's what you talk about with all these draft picks in any league is potential. And I think what Milwaukee did last night with these 2 picks, I like that potential. I'm intrigued with them. And if it works out, I think that's a home run of a draft. But we don't know. I just hope that they get every opportunity, every chance to develop and to get better. And I think the underrated aspect of this, too, might be Taylor Jenkins, the new head coach. Because Taylor Jenkins, his experience when he was a successful coach with Memphis was bringing in a younger team, molding them, and developing those players. So I'm excited to see what Taylor Jenkins can do with these 2 players and some of the younger guys that they did get with Miami. That potential, I know the P word, some people just maybe kind of grind their teeth about. It's like, oh, potential, I want it for sure thing. But I think I'm looking at this as a glass half full type of approach, but I think they got some nice players. They definitely have got some youth, but they've got some intriguing athletes when you look at what they've gotten from Miami and now with the draft here. Braden seems to be a little bit more ready now to be a contributor as opposed to Nate, but maybe Nate is got the higher ceiling. Your thoughts, you can let us know. Put on your scouting cap, all right? NBA draft experts. We got to take a quick break. Back with plenty more coming up after these few words. Summer is the season for golf, softball, pickleball, running, and staying active. But hey, aches and pains can quickly slow you down. That's where Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine comes in. Their experienced team helps weekend warriors and athletes of all ages get back to doing what they love with expert care and treatment options designed to keep you moving. Play more, hurt less. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. So we went through. Drop that. We went through the two picks from the Bucs last night. What did General Manager John Horst have to say to the media? Would not talk about the trade. Declined to talk about trade specifics until he said the trade became official by the NBA. But some quotes from him last night saying, we're building. These guys are important to it. We're just really excited to continue to build and add on piece and create an identity, a style of play, a roster full of character and versatility and size. Got a lot of work ahead of us, but it's a good start. He said also, it's busy, fun, stressful, but it's no different. This is the best time of year. We got a lot of things going on. This is when you always put together a roster, and that's what we're doing right now. I thought tonight was a great first step. Talking about Braden Burries, he said he's been a winner his whole career. We think one of the best two-way guards in the draft. When it came to Amons, it was we were clear. If we had the chance to take Nate with that pick, that's what we were going to do. To acquire those draft rights, that was an unbelievable opportunity for us. We've talked a lot at Coach Taylor Jenkins' press conference about style of play, identity, and who we want to be. The things that we want to do, takes processors, people that can think the game, that can attack space and create advantages that are going to play on both sides of the ball that are big at their positions. That's how you also take advantage of space. That's the vision. This has been a great opportunity for us to have the opportunity in a lottery for the first time in over a decade, first time in my career to make a lottery pick, much less two. And I think it's a great draft to do it. Yeah, the last lottery pick was Thon Maker in 2016. The Thon Maker era, man. Oh, remember that? That was supposed to be the next Giannis type of player. That's the thing. It's like, I feel the NBA draft, this is just my opinion, but I feel the NBA draft, when it comes to these players, it is such it's a bigger wild card than the NFL draft. And I don't know if it's just age, experience, because a lot of these guys now one and done, or they're international players, a little bit of an unknown aspect to it. But I mean, even some of the great players right now in the NBA, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Jalen Brunson, the teams that they were drafted, Alexander was drafted by the Clippers and traded to the Thunder. Jalen Brunson was drafted by the Mavericks and then traded to the Knicks. You know, I feel like in the NBA, a lot of teams just get so not patient when it comes to these players because I don't know if it's they expect contributions right away, or their visions of their team instantly change because, like, all right, we're all of a sudden a lot better, so we need players who can help right now, and you know we can't wait any longer for these guys. It's the impatience for a lot of these teams with younger players, I think, and I think that's been one downfall for the Bucs too, is that, but maybe also development and such. So it's such a big, even some of the top picks. I mean, if you look at some of the top picks over the last few years, they haven't really panned out. I think the NBA draft, maybe more so than the NFL draft, is such a crapshoot because you really don't have a good idea if these guys are going to pan out. You know, sometimes you hear in the NFL draft the safest pick. NBA, very rarely do you hear about a for sure thing when it comes to a pick, like LeBron or Wembanyama maybe, and those are like, okay, yep, that we know that dude's gonna play, that one's gonna work out, that's gonna be okay. I feel like that's few far in between when it comes to the NBA this day and age, and that's what makes this a big unknown. It sounds great when you look at these players. It sounds awesome that, okay, this guy brings this to the table and he's able to do this. Oh, man, he's got more. He's even going to be better in a couple years. That's the thought process, but we don't really know if it's going to work out. I'm excited. I'm intrigued. I'm looking forward to seeing these two new guys, these two draft picks, suit up and hit the court for Milwaukee, but I'm not going to have super high expectations for them because I don't know. So Burry, yeah, I mean, the one thing too with Burry is this guy is a big guard. You're talking 6'4", 215 pounds. That's a physical guard. I like the fact that they got a couple guys who are physical. And Nate, yeah, he's gonna add weight. I think that's the one thing that I'm confident in and that we should all kind of be confident in is he's gonna add some weight. He's gonna add some muscle. Now, hopefully he adds it kind of like how Giannis did, because when Giannis was drafted, we all know what he looked like, and he was skinny, and then he comes into this like Greek god type of form. Hopefully that's the same thing, but we've already seen it at Tennessee, and you heard it from Jay Billis and such. He's not afraid to get contact. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there. So I like the fact that they got tougher. They got a little bit more physical, athletic. Just hopefully it translates to the pros. All right, we got to take our final break for the first hour. We got Brewers chat coming up. I did not forget about the Brewers game last night. Brandon Sproat, dude, looked awesome. But again, is the biggest thing when it comes to Brandon Sproat consistency. Great, he had a great game. Not gonna, poo-poo on it or anything. But can you stack success so that's a consistent thing moving forward? That it's consistent every time he's out there. You're feeling good, or he's going to put together back-to-back starts that are quality starts. Let's take a quick break, and we'll talk some Brewers as we start to wrap up the first hour. We'll be right back after these few words. Summer road trips, they create some great memories, man, but sometimes, you hate to say it, but it does happen. Accidents happen. If a fender bender puts a dent in your plans, you could trust the fine folks at Superior Auto Body right here in Eau Claire to get your vehicle looking like new again. Their experienced team provides quality collision repair and attention to detail that helps restore your vehicle and your peace of mind. When life bumps into your vehicle, hey, count on Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, our official Backyard Dreams partners. Speaking of Backyard Dreams, don't forget to sign up for the 6th annual Kasper Classic coming your way. Actually, we're approaching a month and some change here, so time is running out. All right, get your team in. We got slots open for the 1 p.m. slot, tee time, and the 7:30 a.m., a.k.a. the Surveyor Sam flight, or Surveyor and Nate flight, I should say. But just go to sportstalk1051.com to sign up your two-person team. It's only $90, man, $90 for the team. Not $90 per person, $90 for the team. So if you've got your buddy Jim, say, Jim, throw in 45, I'll throw in the other 45, we're good. That includes your 9 holes. That includes your cart. That includes your meals. That includes a couple drink tickets and some gifts and swag stuff. So get on over to our website and get your two-person team signed up. Now, we've sold out every single year, so don't wait. Let's get this thing done. Let's make it a 6th straight year of selling this out. Special thanks to our partners, Baldoons, Park Ridge Distributing, Hy-Vee in Eau Claire, Kelsey Nikolai, Edward Jones Financial, Dodge, Cambridge, Myron Construction, Claffin Construction, VFW Post 305, Superior Auto Body, Window World, Home Oasis, and Resonance Branding. If you are interested in being a whole sponsor, partnering up to help support Backyard Dreams, please reach out. Okay, please reach out. Or if you're interested in helping out with the raffle prize, because 100% of the proceeds go to Backyard Dreams. Man, I'd love you. I would love you. So reach out and let's figure something out, okay? So, but you can hit me up with an email on that if you'd like, or shoot me a text and I'll put you in contact with the proper person. So, okay, I only got a few minutes left to the top of the hour, so let's talk Brewers to kick off the next hour, looking back at last night's game. We might throw a little Greta Gold chat in here, too, because Tucker Kraft might be a happy guy. He didn't get a contract, but another tight end got a contract, and that could give us a little bit of an indication on maybe what Tucker Kraft's potential new deal is going to be. Kyle Pitts signing a 3-year deal yesterday. 3-year, $54 million contract that includes $36 million fully guaranteed. It is the largest 3-year contract for a tight end in NFL history. So we'll kind of break that down and put in a comparison towards what Tucker Kraft could potentially be getting with his new contract whenever that is going to happen. So, we'll put that on there. We've got a few texts and messages to get to here. We've got Matt on the video stream saying highlights from the game last night was terrible dollar game. Oh, I must have went, but we left there with the W. Cincy fans were surprised by Sproat's performance for sure. Good morning to Barb, Joe, and Zach as well that are hanging out in the Section 105 chats. Let's get that Section 105 chat going. Don't forget, ring that bell, and would love it if you could subscribe and follow to the YouTube page over there, and follow all of our other video content on there. Richie chiming in on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line, saying, Carson, my friend Travis, and I are embarking on a jersey for a couple of World Cup games. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Does that mean you're going to a World Cup game, Richie, or you're looking for a jersey and then going to the World Cup? Maybe it's both. I'm not sure. Which one? Where you go? Share with the rest of the class. All right. It is Wednesday, too, so don't forget, send me a what-if scenario. You guys have been knocking it out of the park the last few weeks with those, so send those on over to us so we can debate about it. All right, we'll wrap it up with Morgan. Good morning, Morgs.
Hey, how's it going, Casper?
Good. How are you?
What's this belt in here?
It's for the Casper Classic.
Oh, I see. I didn't see the buckle. It was just turned. Okay. Have you done any golfing yet to warm up for the Classic?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? How's it going this year?
I am dominating right now, so.
Oh, in your own mind or like in actual real life?
I am 100% dominating. So.
Okay. A Wednesday wild card. We'll see if you can dominate. Pick a number between 1 and 23.
Let's go 23. Jordan.
Would the world be better if everybody had the same taste in music?
Nah.
Okay, then what's your favorite music? Like if you had
I hate that. No.
Okay, well you didn't even let me get the question out before you hated it. Do you have let's say a genre that you would listen to the most? You had to like something like say you had something was stuck in your CD player because apparently it's 1996 again.
Oh yeah, 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you stick in your CD player by choice?
Whatever I burned on my computer, man.
You
it's
put
got the
together your
mixture.
own
Yeah.
mixes.
Yeah, it might be a little country, a little rock, a little hip hop.
No, do you have one
Depends
that
on the
stands
mood I'm
out from like that was the mix to go to? What song was on it?
Oh gosh, I can't do that. I went through. I would just burn through. If there was a song that was stuck in my head, I would just burn one song on a CD, put it in the car, and
Listen
just go.
on repeat.
Yeah.
What was the song that you think you'd latched onto in burn mode for the longest that you really never got sick of? Like I went through some of those same songs.
Gosh.
Everybody does, because when first like
I'm trying to think like 04, 03, 05, that era.
oh for sure.
Yeah, trying to think of something over there.
Oh, that you're talking about like Ja Rule at this point, like the I'm real
I wasn't
phase.
a big Ja Rule.
No Diggity, Nelly.
Nelly, I was huge into.
Okay.
Ride With Me. Yeah, that was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Air Force Ones. Yep.
Between Air Force Ones and Ride With Me, what was your?
Ride With Me.
Okay. That's what I can picture you rolling to through Medford.
Yeah.
Okay.
See me rolling. They hating.
Do you have a Band-Aid on your face too? Do smartphones make people more or less creative?
I think we've had this one before.
Yeah.
Less creative.
Do you think that, but you're on your phone a lot. Do you
Yeah.
think it helps you in your own
it's
life?
more convenient, but it makes you less less creative.
What was the last thing you used your phone for that was actually helpful?
Texted somebody.
Not distracting, helpful.
I wasn't. I was returning a message.
Okay, you're going to use the portal of work. You're going to say the last thing you used your phone for that was constructive was work, but that's kind of a
Well, it wasn't
question.
work. It was returning a message to a friend.
Okay, so social.
I wasn't being that person that doesn't return messages.
So what you're really saying is it saves you a phone call.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't have to
talk
talk
me.
on the phone.
People who call me, I don't like it.
No,
so.
absolutely not.
All right.
Horoscopes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Do you know what yours says today?
Probably I'm doomed.
Yes, you're doomed.
Yeah.
And return that text.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marks.
Anytime.
All right, second hour, kick it off right now. Richie, if you're still tuning in, Surveyor Sam needs to know if you're going to be golfing in the Casper Classic. So just passing along that message. So, Richie, actually embarking on 2 World Cup games. Sweet. Nice. That should be cool. As that, again, I'm not the biggest soccer fan, but I would like to experience a World Cup atmosphere, environment. I'd like to do that. I'm pretty open to a lot of different sports and experiencing that environment. So, but yeah, that should be a lot of fun. Good for you, Richie. Good for you and taking the kid. Oh, that should be a good memory. That's awesome. All right, coming up. Well, first of all, Wednesday. What if Wednesday? Give me a. You guys have been great for the last couple weeks. Give me a nice what if scenario. All right, what if this happened? What if that happened? What if this move was made? What if this game was won or lost? How would history be different in sports? So you can send those on over. Hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Or, again, you can hit us up on the Section 105 chat room on the video stream. It is also a, what are we doing here Wednesday? Like, maybe you are, what are we doing here trading Giannis? What are we doing here, with, I don't know, something. Like, what best ones? All right, send me the best one. Send me your best ones, and I'll read up on the air if you got a good one. Okay? So we'll get to those throughout. We spent the first hour talking some Bucks and draft picks. If you want to chime in on your thoughts, your take on the 2 new picks for the Bucks from last night, with the 10th overall pick, the Bucks went with a guard, Braden Burries from Arizona, and with the 13th overall pick that they are getting from the Miami Heat, Nate Amons from Tennessee. He was the guy that has probably been mocked the most to Milwaukee since they figured out the draft lottery order. So Bucks getting a guard and a wing from last night's draft. They do not have a second-round pick as of now for tonight's draft. If you're a Timberwolves fan, you got a couple picks tonight, but last night they selected Joshua Jefferson with the 20th overall pick, forward Joshua Jefferson. So we'll talk some more hoops to talk a little bit more about the picks from last night a little bit later on. But Brewers-wise, it was another dominating pitching performance from the Brewers. Brandon Sproat was awesome. 6 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, no walks, 10 Ks to pick up his second win on the season. Bullpen shut it down after that, too. The Reds only 2 hits last night. Brewers only had 5 hits, so, we've had 2 games now where there hasn't been a lot of offensive production. Was it the 4th inning that the Brewers did have the bases loaded with 1 out and they didn't score anything? But luckily they were able to add a run in the top of the 6th and then insurance run into the top of the 8th. To secure the victory last night to get at least a series win, and they will go for the sweep tonight. First pitch, 6:10. Coverage begins 35 minutes prior. You can listen to that game on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Starting for the Brewers tonight, it's going to be Shane Drowan. And Shane Drowan's coming off of a no decision against Cleveland back on the 18th. Where he threw 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 3 Ks. Shane Drowan so far, since he's been essentially moved from the pen to the starting role, but in the month of June, where he has started 4 games already this month, he is 1-1 with a 4.43 ERA. And if we look at it from his starting numbers, his last game against Cleveland was probably his best start. He didn't start a game in the month of May, and he was really good, 1-0 with a 1.72 ERA. Started that game, 1 game in April 8th, and 2 2/3 and 3 earned runs and 63 pitches. But he's coming off of probably, numbers-wise, his best. The Giants game on the 1st, he went 4 innings and 2 earned runs and Had 5 strikeouts in that. But, yeah, I'd say he's coming off his best start statistically. 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts. Still issued 3 walks, though. So we talk about Brandon Sproat and then, Shane Drone. I think the 2 biggest things, we know those 2 have talent. Maybe Shane Drone's better coming out of the pen. Maybe a little bit more up in the air right now with Sproat. But can they stack that success? We've seen Shane Drone stack that success as a bullpen guy coming out of the pen and having multiple games, back-to-back games where he has been awesome and electric. I mean, that Cubs game in the middle of May, he didn't start it, but he went 4 1/3. Gave up just 4 hits, no earned runs, struck out 5. Didn't issue a single walk. But from a starting perspective, and let's face it too, Brewers are maybe asking him to do some tough things as a young pitcher. Starter, bullpen. He had success as a bullpen guy, long relief guy in the month of May. Injuries have called him to duty to be a starter. It's a different process. It's a different way to preparation. And when guys start to get healthy, maybe when Logan Henderson comes back, they're going to ask Shane Drone to go back to the bullpen. And, I mean, Brewers have asked pitchers to do this a lot, especially younger pitchers. Woodruff was the same. Corbin Burns was the same. Jacob Mizorowski did it last year too. But I think now with Shane Drone, you're just looking from a starting perspective again, can he put together back-to-back or back-to-back good, solid, quality starts? He's got the talent. He's got great talent. Is it starter-worthy talent? Can he go out there tonight and kind of continue this bar that Brandon Woodruff and Brandon Sproats have? Well, they set it pretty high with their pitching performances these last 2 games. It's been very high. So, Shane Drone, it's going to be a tough ask. But Brewers, if they win tonight, they'll complete the sweep. They're going up against Lauder on the other mound, a right-handed pitcher who is 3-4. Not a ton of experience with some of these Brewers hitters. You're talking 1 or 2 ABs. So nothing really there. But Rhett Lauder, he is 3-4 in 11 games started this year with a 4.82 ERA. He's coming off of a loss against the Yankees back on the 19th, where he went 5 1/3 and gave up 4 earned runs. If we kind of break it down here a little bit more, in the month of June so far in 3 games, 0-1 with a 3.21 ERA. But his 2 previous starts in the month of June were solid. Against the Diamondbacks on the 13th, he went 5 2/3, gave up just 1 earned run, struck out 6. Against St. Louis, he only went 3 innings, but he gave up just 1 hit, struck out 4, but issued 5 walks. There have been a couple of times this season he's had some issues with walks. Back on May 2nd, that was a really bad performance. Got the start, but he only lasted an inning and a third against the Pirates. He gave up 8 earned runs and 4 walks. Yeesh. Yikes. So I think this is a guy, if you could get at him early, if you could put up a crooked number early, that's the game plan. But from what we've seen so far in these first 2 games of this Red Series, we know runs are hard to come by. Offense hasn't been easy. But it feels like maybe this third game, because how many times have we seen that in baseball? Where then it's just like the complete opposite from the first couple games. Great pitching, not a lot of offense, and then you get to the series finale and it does like a 180. Would it surprise anybody today if it's like an 8-6 game? Wouldn't surprise me. Not at all. It's one of those you just kind of chuckle at a little bit. Brewers then will have the off day tomorrow to prepare for their series against the Chicago Cubs. So don't want to look too far ahead, because let's focus on getting this win and this series win. If the Brewers do win tonight, they will be 20 games above 500. 20 games above 500. Not quite to the 50% mark, halfway mark of this season. That'll be accomplished after this 3-game series against the Cubbies. So, way preview. Get your homework assignment, or get your planners out. Monday morning, we'll definitely be talking a little bit about some first quarter grades, or second quarter grades, first half grades when it comes to the Brew Crew. So, MLB.com and their latest Cy Young watch as we approach the halfway mark here for the Brewers. A new frontrunner emerges in the National League. And it should not surprise Brewers fans, but it is Jacob Misiorowski. He received 153 total vote points, 29 first place votes. Says while Misiorowski has been wowing all year long with a record-setting heat, he's really taken his Cy Young case to the next level as of late. The right-hander posted a .17 ERA from May 1st through June 12th, culminating with a 15-strikeout, one-hit masterpiece against the Phillies. That's the lowest ERA in an 8-start span, excluding openers, since earned runs became official in 1913. Overall, he leads Major League Baseball in ERA, strikeouts, and WHIP, and opponent's batting average, which is 146. And it's by a wide margin. So he got 29 of these voters from MLB.com for Cy Young. Next up is Sanchez, who got 2 first-place votes. Then Paul Skeens, then Shohei Ohtani, then Chase Burns. Kyle Harrison did get some votes, too. He was in the category of others receiving votes. All right, we'll talk some more Brewers. Kyle Pitts, though, we're going to talk a little football. Kyle Pitts signed a contract for the Atlanta Falcons. Why does that matter? Well, it matters potentially in terms of what Tucker Kraft could be getting. We'll break that down coming up after these quick words. Summer is here, and that means it is the perfect time to give your home or your space a fresh new look with the help from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Whether you are updating a family room, finishing a basement, maybe for your own man cave, refreshing a bedroom, or finally tackling that remodeling project that you've been putting off, Carpet City Flooring Center has the flooring options you are looking for, from beautiful luxury vinyl planks like Ridge and Max flooring, tile, carpet, and more. You'll find quality products and expert guidance every single step of the way. Their experienced team will help you find the right floor to fit your lifestyle, your style in your home, and your budget. Did quickly and correctly. Make this summer the summer you transform your home or your space. Stop on in to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire today and discover why so many area homeowners trust Carpet City Flooring Center for all of their flooring needs. Carpet City Flooring Center, helping you love where you live. I've got a few of you with your Wednesday what ifs. I'll get to those coming up here in just a little bit. Also, we do have a couple of what are we doing here's too. So keep those coming. Hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, or you can chime in on the Section 105 chat on the video stream, where it looks like we've got a few on there too. Let's switch gears here. We'll get back to some more hoops and baseball talk, but we're going to switch gears and talk a little football. Yesterday, Kyle Pitts signing a new contract, the biggest 3-year deal in NFL history. Why does that matter? Well, there's another tight end that is potentially looking for a new contract, and that is one Tucker Kraft. So let's talk a little Tucker Kraft, talk a little football here this morning with Joe. And Joe, when you see that Kyle Pitts contract and such, do you think Tucker Kraft is a pretty happy man this morning?
Yeah, whenever the bar gets reset from a positional standpoint, it's always the guy next in line is the one that really benefits from that. And look, I'm hearing that projections for Tucker Kraft could be in the range of 4 years, $60 million. Looking at 4 years to $72 million. So you're looking really at probably a $15 to $18 million extension. And the thing with the Packers to remember, and this goes way back, this is, Andrew Grant types of legacy here, that Green Bay does not do guarantees. And again, they've done it with signing bonuses. Of course, that is the way to get around that, where you don't want to guarantee a lot of the contract. But, for Tucker Kraft, again, it looks like, in my opinion, it'll be around that $15 to $18 million a year, but it depends on how it's structured and how much of that is signing bonus. And again, whenever you're sitting around and the next guy gets his contract, yeah, you're a happy man, because the bar has now been reset. And again, where does Tucker Kraft fall into that? I think he jumps into probably that top 5 range as far as tight end pay. And, we as Packer fans probably value Tucker Kraft or look at him more importantly than casual fans around the league, or even some of the talking heads around the league. And so I think he makes this offense go. I think most Packer fans believe that he's the linchpin of this offense. But, Tucker Kraft is going to get paid. Green Bay is still in a very, very good position from a salary cap standpoint. You're looking at somewhere between $20 and $25 million of cap space still left this year. And right now, again, with that kind of flexibility this year, because right now Tucker Kraft's cap number is just under $4 million. So you could actually, a lot of times you see where cap numbers go down when you sign that extension. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Green Bay structure this, because of the fact that they've got a lot of cap room this year, that Green Bay structures this a little bit more front-loaded than a typical contract. But the Packers have the cap room to get him done. The Packers have the cap room to get Devontae Wyatt done. Now, he's a guy that flips his salary cap number, because he's playing on that fifth year escalator for first-round draft choices, is just under $13 million. And so you could see Kraft getting the extension and his cap number going up, Devontae Wyatt getting his extension, his cap number going down. And I would expect both of those deals get done sometime still in the summer.
So we know teams, offensive teams, like to, go make the offense go through a guy, or they build their offense around a particular player in the passing game. Between Tucker Kraft and Christian Watson, who should be the primary target, or who should Matt LaFleur build his offense around?
I think it starts with Kraft, and it's almost a 1A and 1B situation, because what Christian Watson does is he takes the cap off the defense. He puts guys into a situation where everything opens up underneath. And so, is it a chicken and the egg where Christian Watson takes the top off the defense to allow someone like a Tucker Kraft or Matthew Golden or Jaden Reed to work underneath? But then you've got, okay, when Christian Watson is going deep and you want to take some deep shots, then you've got your safety blanket, your security blanket, if you will. And so I think it's a 1A and 1B. I would start with Tucker Kraft, but I think it's really, really close as far as who really drives this offense and who really is the guy from a defensive coordinator standpoint that you're saying we have to account for him. And so, again, they both serve two different purposes, but when integrated, very, very key to this offense. Again, one taking that top off, the other being the security blanket, and also the yards after catch guy, because we've seen it with Tucker Kraft now. The ability to find space and then create more space after the catch. I think it's just really impressive what he's done in his short career in the NFL from a yards after catch standpoint. So great question. I think it's a 1A, 1B, but I would still start with Tucker Kraft.
I had recently seen a post, I think it was on NFL.com, I could be wrong, but it said, 4 teams that maybe kind of like 4 teams that got worse or a little bit down after the offseason, and they put the Packers in there because as they listed, Quay Walker gone. I mean, some of the other, Romeo Doubs is gone, but I don't feel like they factored a lot of the other stuff like, they got extensions done for Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. I think it was more of a post about who had like some of the worst off seasons, and Green Bay was a top 4 team. Would you buy that? I mean, I feel like that's a little harsh. It almost screams of like they don't really pay attention to Green Bay football or really paid attention to what actually happened this offseason.
Yeah, I'm selling on that. I'm not buying because yeah, when you're at that point where you don't make the splash moves, and the splash moves really are those free agent signings. And I'll say, a couple of years ago, Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs, those are splash moves. Those make the headlines. When you re-sign your own, and you're at that point where you're like, you know what, we're going to build ancillary and supplementary types of players here. They don't make the splash. They don't make the headlines. And so, yeah, I think what Green Bay has done this offseason is fantastic. And you're also looking at guys and you're saying, okay, we're expecting him to take a jump. And when you see those types of articles or those types of posts about who had the best or worst off season, they don't take into consideration growth from young players. And so it's a little bit of a misguided read because of the fact that they're looking for the splash headlines, the splash signings, and a lot of times the re-signings go unnoticed in those types of situations. I personally really, really like what Green Bay has done this offseason. You and I went into this offseason talking about the fact that now you've got to get supplementary players. Now you've got to get some veterans in there. Now you've got to get some guys maybe on the defensive side of the ball that can be leaders in the locker room. And I think Green Bay has gone out and done that. But is it the type of moves that are going to make the splash headlines? No, but it's the type of moves that can take you from a first or second round exit in the playoffs to a Super Bowl contender. And again, I really like what Green Bay has done. I get it why that article said that or that post said that. But still, for me, I really, really like what Green Bay did. I also like what they did in the draft. I think, again, they've got a couple of guys, Jagger Burton for one, and obviously the first-round pick, Brandon Cisse. And so, you've got some guys that I think are going to be players this year. Another move, just as a side note, a guy like a Sky Moore. That is not a move that gets you headlines. That is not a move that puts you up in the best off seasons. but that's a move that could be a difference maker. And I go back, obviously, when Green Bay won the Super Bowl in 1997. If it's not for Desmond Howard, I don't think Green Bay wins that Super Bowl. I don't know if Green Bay's in a position to be in that Super Bowl, even though they had explosive offense and defense that year. That's the kind of move that goes under the radar, that doesn't get you the posts or the clicks in the offseason, but it gets you a Super Bowl ring.
What about, I feel like one guy, too, that maybe we're not talking a lot about, maybe just as of late here, but do you feel Zaire Franklin, how big of an upgrade, is he an upgrade over Quay Walker? What's your expectations for him heading into this season?
The fact that he's already been anointed the green dot, and the fact that when Micah Parsons speaks of accountability and player accountability, and not coaches' accountability, but players, and he talks about Xavier and Jordan and Zaire. He talks about Zaire Franklin as a guy that's going to be counted on not only on the field, but I think in the locker room. And I think Quay Walker, in my opinion, fantastic athlete. Was he miscast? Maybe. We'll see what he does with the Raiders. But I don't think Quay Walker was a leader. I don't think he was a guy that other players rallied around. I don't think he was a guy that necessarily held his teammates accountable. So I look at Zaire Franklin as a guy that's not only, if he's even par with Quay Walker, but makes a difference in the locker room, that's a huge upgrade then. And I think Green Bay was looking this offseason to get guys in there that could be leaders in the locker room and also play the spot on the field and play the position on the field. So, yeah, I think it's going to be an upgrade, because I think he's going to make a difference on the sidelines. I think he's going to make a difference in the locker room. And I never saw Quay Walker do that. Matter of fact, looking back, Quay Walker's first couple of years in the league, a lot of immaturity. So I never saw him as a leader. I see, at least on paper and at least what Zaire Franklin is saying and other players are saying about him, I'm seeing the ability to play that leadership role. So I think Zaire Franklin is going to be very, very critically important, not only on the field, but off.
Of the guys entering their third year, Edgerrin Cooper, Evan Williams, Javon Bullard, and such, who do you think, or who are you maybe most excited? Let's phrase it that way. Who are you most excited about to see maybe make another jump into year three?
You know what? It's going to be Javon Bullard. I think we've seen Evan Williams and we've seen what he can do, and obviously Coop. Not only is he going to be a big-time player playing that traditional inside backer position, but also you're seeing him getting some reps on the edge. So I think you're going to see him take that next step. I am most excited about Javon Bullard. I think you're just seeing an arc of a player going from developmental and potential to realizing that potential and being the player that he could be. And so I'm most excited about him. And again, that's the whole juggling of the salary cap, because you've got guys that you've got to look at now and say, okay, who's the next guy up to get paid, and who's the next guy up to get that extension? And you mentioned three guys right there from that class that all three, in my opinion, are critical to Green Bay, and it's going to be hard to sign all three of them to those extensions. And so again, Russ Ball has his work cut out for him. Real quick, Dan, I want to jump tracks for just a moment with you, because I wanted to ask you this, because obviously the big news this week was Giannis. And I want to ask you, as a fan, as a media person, you've now been around the Brett Favre departure. You've been around the Aaron Rodgers departure. You've been around now the Giannis departure. I had Paul Molitor as one of my guys that I went through that was really hard for me. I was very, very young, but I still remember the Lou Alcindor departure. So for you, though, between Rodgers, Favre, and Giannis, which one is the hardest, or was the hardest to take?
For me personally, it was probably Favre, and probably for a few reasons. One, wasn't expected. Like for Rodgers, we kind of knew it was potentially, coming and such. And I know Favre, we had Rodgers kind of waiting in the wing, but we were coming off of an NFC Championship game, and it just kind of felt like, there's no way he's going to retire this year and come back. And it was retirement compared to a trade. Giannis, we had been hearing about potentially, traded for years. And I don't know, and I think part of that is social media, just the instant, news cycle, whereas Favre, Facebook, and was just kind of in its infancy, and MySpace was around. It was just, you still had to watch TV or listen to the radio for the latest updates. And I just remember following the Favre thing throughout the whole thing. And I always tell this story, like the way I found out Favre, I still remember the date, March 4th, 2008. I was in college, and my roommate, I had a late class, and he woke me up, and all he said was, turn on the TV, and he walked out. And I turned the TV on. It was Favre, and I walked down the stairs, and my other roommate, my best friend Jake, walks in. We didn't even say a word, Joe. We just hugged. We just hugged, and I wore my Favre jersey to class. I had a professor that day say, we're watching Favre's press conference in a couple days instead of having class. So honestly, it was probably the Favre one, and maybe that's because that was my first one that I went through that hits the most. And maybe I was just kind of better prepared for the Rodgers and Giannis one because it was getting talked about more.
It makes sense. It makes sense. And again, for me, and I think it's also where you are in your stage of life. For me, the Lou Alcindor one, I was really young, almost too young to really grasp what was going on at that point. But for me, it was really Molitor. And I think it's, again, that player who you grew up with. Don't get me wrong, Favre stung, Rodgers stung, and of course this week, as a Bucks fan, I didn't want to see it. As a Bucks, as a practical and logical Bucks follower, it had to happen. It absolutely had to happen. And so I think for me it was Molitor, but again, that next generation now, those that didn't see or weren't a big fan or weren't old enough to really take it all in and soak it all in when Rodgers won that Super Bowl. You've got, and again, your son has experienced the NBA championship, and from the Milwaukee Bucks. And so it just hit me this week as far as I was, when the Giannis news broke, I said, all right, who in my mind was the hardest one? And again, I went through the five, and I dismissed Alcindor right away, a little bit too young to really grasp what was happening. I'm kind of with you on the Rodgers thing and the Giannis thing because you kind of expected it. Favre, it seemed like it was tumultuous in the offseason. For me, and I remember this distinctly, and I can't remember the exact year that Molitor was deemed expendable by former GM Sal Bando at the time, but I actually got on a sports talk show that Sal Bando was on, and I asked him directly. I said, explain to me your rationale, and of course, not understanding the financial ramifications, but explain to me your rationale in letting Paul Molitor go. And he Sal Bando tried to play the cliche game, but he said, we have a lot of other players. You got to make decisions for the health of the franchise, blah, 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 blah. And I said, but when you look at a batting order, the difference Paul Molitor made not only to the game or around him, but to the other players, because you pitch around him, you do this. And Sal just kind of blew me off at that point. But for me, it was definitely Paul Molitor. But I wanted to get your take on it. You and I have an interesting perspective because of the generational difference that you and I have. And again, it was like, I got to ask Dan this question. With the Giannis news hitting, which one hit the most? But for you, it's Favre.
Yeah, for me, I think just from a pure emotional standpoint, it was probably Favre. And I think part of it too was that's all I knew from a Packers quarterback perspective from a young kid. I was born in '86, and when I first started, my first games that I can remember watching Packers, it was Favre at quarterback all the way through when I was a senior in college. So I mean, that was kind of the end of an era, end of a chapter. And that's probably, that would have to be the one, because I think I was just immune to maybe after that with the Rodgers one and Giannis. I would say an honorable mention for me, though, would be Shaq, because I was such a huge Orlando Magic fan because of Shaq. And then when he left, it was because I had a Shaq Orlando themed birthday party, and then he went to the Lakers the next day. So that one.
Oh, man, that's brutal.
I remember sitting on the stairs outside of my house in Medford listening to the radio, and that's when it was announced that he was going to the Lakers. I'm like, are you flipping kidding me? I just had a birthday cake with Shaq on there. So Yeah.
An Orlando Magic Shack. Not just
Yep.
Shack, but an Orlando Magic Shack.
Yep. So.
Oh, man. Well, I tell you what, and again, flipping this back over and getting back to football, when you look at it in the rearview mirror, you say to yourself, I think the Favre move, I think the franchise was smart, obviously, to move on to Rodgers at that point. I think the franchise was smart to move on with Rodgers and moving on to Love. And again, you almost look at, when's the right time to make a move like this? And looking at what the Bucs got this week from the Miami Heat, you ask yourself, should they have made this move a year earlier and not try to go in one more year and go after Miles Turner and have the Damian Lillard, cut and keep and extend and all that kind of stuff? So you ask yourself, was it almost a year too late? So knowing when to move on, knowing when to take that next step in your franchise, I think that's a really hard step to take. And again, we've got the 2020 ability right now, looking back at least at the Packers situation. And I think, at least I look at it and say, I think looking back, I think the franchise moved on from Hall of Fame players, iconic players, best players in franchise history consideration. I think with Giannis, we can say that unequivocally. But with Favre and Rodgers, there's a lot of guys up for that debate. But knowing when to pull that trigger, that's got to be a hard move. But it's just an interesting thing when you see something happen in another sport, then you say, all right, which one hurt the most? And I wanted to get your take on it. So I appreciate you sharing this morning.
Really quick, since it is a What If Wednesday, let's go to that Favre thing. What if he doesn't retire and says he's coming back? Do they trade Rodgers or do they still trade Favre? How do you think that changes?
You know what? I think if Favre wouldn't have gone, if he wouldn't have vacillated so much, and if he was just, if the what if is Favre never, ever, ever, vacillated and never talked retirement, yeah, I think you keep Favre and you trade Rodgers. But it had happened multiple off seasons where he started hinting around at that retirement. And so my what if goes to more that he was never in doubt, that there was never a doubt that Brett Favre comes back. I think if he was 100% on board and never giving those hints and being a little nondescript about his intentions, I think Green Bay trades Rodgers at that point. Matter of fact, there are reports out there that Rodgers there were trade talks with the Raiders at some point and some other teams at that point. So I think the what if there is, what if Brett Favre never vacillates and stays committed to playing year in, year out? I think Aaron Rodgers gets traded.
Yeah, I agree too. All right, Joe. Hey, thanks for the conversation this morning. Enjoy the rest of the week, sir, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
All right, Dan. Love it. And this is one of those weeks as a sports fan where you take the good with the bad, man. And Giannis brought a championship to Milwaukee, and we'll always appreciate that. And that's the one thing the three of them do have, and Alcindor, is they all brought championships to the state of Wisconsin. So appreciative, but moving on and looking forward, brother.
Yeah, I agree. All right, dude. We'll catch up soon, okay?
All right. Take care, Dan.
You got it. There you go. There's Joe DeGuano joining us here this morning. Hey, I'll throw it out to the rest of you because I know of somebody, a friend of mine, Tim, I believe. He's now a Cardinals fan. But Tim, if you're listening, maybe you could correct me if I get this wrong. But I believe Tim, because I always ask him, why are you a Cardinals fan? And it was because of the Paul Molitor decision. Like, he was so upset with the Brewers with the Paul Molitor decision. Essentially, he switched to allegiances. So, okay, I'll throw that question out to the rest of you. Which superstar player leaving your favorite team hurt the most? And it doesn't necessarily have to be Wisconsin. Maybe you were a fan of a different team that's outside of Wisconsin. Which one hurt the most, or which one felt the weirdest, or you know what I mean? Hit me up. All right, we got to take a quick break. We're running a little bit behind, so we gotta pay some bills. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't forget to head to Hy-Vee and Eau Claire's Facebook page to check out the latest savings and deals going on with their latest flyer. Price is valid from now until June 28th. We're talking about $3.99 frozen Tombstone pizzas, DiGiorno's, Jack's Classic, Rising Crust. Frozen pizzas are huge in our house. When you have a kid that has a very limited menu of things he's willing to eat at this point in time of his life. But you got cottage cheese. It's on sale for $3.28. You've got savings on Zevia soda. That's huge in our house, too. I used to be a huge soda drinker. Got unhealthy, gained some weight, lost it thanks to River Valley Weight Loss, and it was River Valley Weight Loss that pointed me to Zevia. And, love Zevia. $2.99 Powerade with the purchase of 4. That's a heck of a deal there, too. $5.99 each with the purchase of 2 Gatorade 6 or 8-pack bottles. $5.99 Blue Ribbon Classic frozen ice cream. Lots of stuff on there. And don't forget about the fuel savers as well from when you go shopping at Hy-Vee. Got to give a shout out to Hy-Vee, too, because for Hudson's birthday party the other day, he wanted some baseball cookies. This is the thing. Baseball drip, the ice cream drip. For baseball, he wanted cookies looking like that, and they did that. I posted a picture up on my Facebook page if you want to take a look at it. But that bakery department at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire, they got some mad skills, you guys, some serious skills. So go check it out there. Big thanks to them for, Hudson challenged them, and they passed that test with flying colors. So, as I said, we're playing a little bit from behind here. So we do have to take another break before the top of the hour. But to kick off the next hour, I want to go through some of your what-ifs and what are we doing here? We got it's a what-if Wednesday, so what if? What if something like this happened? What if that happened? What if this game was different? You know, all that stuff. What if? Brought to you by Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire. And then it's our, what are we doing here? Got a couple of you chiming in with some, what are we doing here? Keep those coming. All right. Really quick break as we approach halftime on this Wednesday morning. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. All right, we only got about a minute left here, so coming up again next hour, we'll get back to some more hoops chats with the Bucks selecting a couple of rookies last night. We'll get back to kind of previewing them and talking a little bit about them, giving you a little bit of a scouting report on our newest guard and wing coming to Milwaukee. Plus, back to some Brewers talk. We got some What If Wednesdays to get to. We got some What the heck are we doing here? I can't believe I might actually back up Craig Counsell on something. I might. That might be the what are we doing here? Why am I backing up Craig Counsell? But I don't know. If you missed this from the other night, I gotta go through it with you. Talking about Cubs Mets game and PCA sliding into second on a walk. If you know what I'm talking about. So, all right. Shot clock's going to cut me off, but we'll kick off the third quarter, the third hour with your what ifs and what are we doing here. Be right back after this quick news update. All right, third quarter kicking off right now on this Making the Turn Wednesday, June 24th. Thanks for hanging out and making us a part of your start here. It is a What If Wednesday brought to you by Superior Auto Body. What are some what ifs? Got a few good ones out there. You guys always come through in the clutch on that, so good work. How about what are we doing here? We got a couple of those to get to here. So let's just jump into that here. Because a few of you probably been like, hey, I said that a while ago. Nick, I don't have to worry about what if I win the Kasper Classic. I am. I don't have to worry about it. If I do, party on the 19th green. Party on, yeah. I don't know. Got it. I can't be overconfident. That's what's killed me the last 5 years. So, Mike says Dusty May doesn't like what college sports have become. That's like calling the kettle Nick Saban. What are we doing here? We've got Big Daddy Crush saying, what are we doing here? People seem to like the Giannis trade, but do they forget the Bucks have never proven that they can draft ever? Name one first-round pick the Bucks have ever drafted that has turned out to be a quality NBA player besides Giannis. Bucks can't draft. Horst needs to go. I'm assuming you made first-round pick in the Horst era. I'm assuming that because if we go way back, I mean, technically Kareem or Lou Alcindor was first round, and you got Ray Allen. He was pretty good, but then they traded him. It's like, geez. So, how about some more what ifs? We've got Zach saying, what if Parsons and Kraft didn't get hurt last year? Do the Pack make a major run? I think so. I would say yes. You can, by the way, on our what ifs, you all can chime in too. When I throw it out there, I don't want to be the only one answering these, so you can send those too. We've got John saying, morning, Dan. Everyone talks about the shot as the perfect ending for the Bulls to win Game 6 against the Jazz in '98. But what if that ball clangs off the rim? We go back to Salt Lake for Game 7 with Pippen barely able to walk. Don't the Jazz absolutely take that series? And doesn't Byron Russell go down as a legend instead of a meme? But Pippen barely able to walk. But I will say there's one big obstacle in that what if. He goes by the name of Michael Jordan. And it's a Game 7. It's an elimination game. I would almost go the opposite approach and say if he misses that shot, if he misses that shot and it goes to a decisive Game 7, I think I would almost bet he would have an all-time classic in Game 7. And we'd be talking about his epic Game 7 performance. Carrying his team on his back. That I'd almost go with that approach. I'd probably be more surprised if the Jazz won Game 7 than and Jordan not having a good game than the other part of that. So I might go a little bit of a different route. If there was a situation like that and you had to pick one player to be your guy, wouldn't it be Michael Jeffrey Jordan? Yeah, that might be where I'm going. Surveyor, not sure if you're still tuning in, but Richie says won't be at the Kasper Classic. They're going to be heading to a tournament in Des Moines for some karate. Nice. So, best of luck. Good luck. Keep those what ifs coming. Keep those what are we doing here is coming. So the one that I was referring to a little bit, did you all see this play from Cubs Mets? So Pete Crow Armstrong stole second, but it was a walk. So Michael Busch drew a walk. Pete Crow Armstrong was running on a full count pitch. He slid head first into second base. The Mets challenged the play, and replay review determined that PCA was tagged out when he lost contact with second base at one point. So even though Bush walked and he's given that base, PCA was thrown out. Counsel said he got an explanation from the umps about what the Mets were challenging, but when the call was overturned, he argued, got mad, got ejected, and he said, quote, umpires interpret rules correctly. They don't get that stuff wrong. It's a bad rule. It's a terrible rule. I mean, I don't know what else to say, like, not a good rule. So I don't know if I've ever seen that. First of all, heads up by the Mets. I mean, that was fantastic. And I don't know if they knew from scouting with that umpiring staff or what, or they just took a shot in the dark. But heads up to them. But if that is a rule, I mean, it makes sense. Think about it in other situations. I just don't know if I've ever seen that called. I'm kind of curious if somebody has a lot of time on their hands to go back and see other plays where it's a throwdown and it's still a walk, but they tag him. I don't know. I'd be really curious. I don't think that's ever happened. So I guess I was going to initially I was going to say, what are we doing here with that call? But I mean, if that's a rule and counsel admit it's a rule, but it's a bad rule, hey, I wonder if we're going to see more teams attempt to do that. But also I think that's going to open up the eyes for a lot of teams saying, make sure you pay attention. If you are running on a full count and if it's a walk, and Pete Carroll Armstrong didn't know it was a walk. I mean, you shouldn't know if it was a walk. You go in there sliding just in case, right? Hold on to that bag. Be prepared for it. But, yeah, what do you think? Do you like that rule? Do you think it's a bad rule? Try to take, if you're a non-Cubs fan, okay? Try to take that out of consideration. But, all right, kind of throwing the question that we kind of ran into in the previous hour and it doesn't have to necessarily be Wisconsin. We'll expand this thing. Which great player, all-time great, fantastic player, hurt the most for you when they left your team? Was it maybe Ray Allen getting traded? I'll throw that one in for consideration for some Bucs fans because I think that just kind of came out of nowhere. I think the surprise element, I think you do have to factor in a surprise element. What personally hurt the worst for you? Not necessarily hurt the team the worst, okay? I don't want to get into that. I want to get to the raw emotions, okay? The raw emotions that you personally were hurt the most, that you were sad the most, or you were the most frustrated, upset. I shared a couple of mine. Shaq, when I was a kid. Huge Orlando fan because of Shaq. Shaq left, I was still an Orlando fan, though. Then Penny left, and I was still an Orlando fan, but then I just lost interest in the NBA for a hot minute. But I was still a Shaq fan. Still followed Penny. That one hurt. Favre one hurt more for me if I had to narrow it down to just a Wisconsin one for my era. Because I think part of it, too, though, is just generational, too. I think we were so prepared for the possibility of Rodgers and Giannis leaving because it was just nonstop talked about, right? It was constantly being talked about. So it just kind of prepared. The Favre one, we knew, I mean, he hawed about retiring or not, and they had their backup. We kind of figured at one point, but I don't think it was, I mean, could you imagine if Twitter was around and Facebook was really pumping and social media was pumping during Favre's retirement stuff? I mean, that would be talked about nonstop. And they would be, just it would be all over the place where we probably would have been, all right, yep, when he's retiring or when he's coming. That whole thing would be like, oh, yeah, okay, not a big surprise. But and for me, it was probably from, I think, too, just with my age, that's all I knew as a quarterback, from a quarterback position. But Josh says he didn't leave, but he was forced to retire. The one I missed the most is Kirby Puckett, one of the most joyous, fun players to ever play Major League Baseball. Rando says, I was hurt when Aaron Jones left and went to the Vikings. What if the NFL was having a supplemental draft for Sorsby this year? Who would draft him in what round? Maybe the Jets. Maybe. In like 6th, 7th. I just feel the NFL is coming down hard on that stuff, where I don't know if a team would want to throw a high pick in there, and then you kind of have to battle potentially with suspensions and all that. So I don't know if a team would be willing to throw in a top round one, especially not a round 1, 2, 3, or anything like that. John says, I'm with you on Favre. That one hit me kind of hard also as a kid growing up in the 90s. Favre was my first favorite player. Keep those coming. We're going to take a quick break. We'll talk some more Bucks hoops with the draft. We got more Brewers talk. Brandon Sproat looked, chef's kiss, amazing last night. We got Shane Drone. Hey, Brandon Woodruff and Brandon Sproat set the bar high, Shane Drone. What are you going to do in this series finale tonight against the Reds? Huh? Put the pressure on. All right, quick break. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Believe it or not, hunting season preparation starts now. And there is no better place to gear up than Tilden Gun in Chippewa Falls. Whether you're looking to upgrade your deer rifle, to pick up a new turkey shotgun, or add a dependable shotgun for traps, sporting clays, or target shooting, Tilden Gun has a wide selection of firearms from the brands you know and trust. Their knowledgeable staff can help you find the perfect fit for your hunting style, your experience level, and budget. Plus, you will find ammunition, accessories, optics, and more to help you get the most out of every trip to the range or into the field. Don't wait until the season is right around the corner. Get prepared now and shoot with confidence later. Stop by Tilden Gun in Chippewa Falls and see why sportsmen and shooting enthusiasts throughout the Chippewa Valley trust Tilden Gun for all of their firearm needs. So, Bucks last night with 2 picks in the lottery, the 10th overall, getting the guard from Arizona. Getting the guard Braden Burries with the and then with the 13th overall pick, the name that was always kind of attached with the Bucks from the beginning. But he was available there at number 13, the wing from Tennessee, Nate Ament. I'm not the biggest NBA draft nut. Wouldn't consider analyst or whatever you want to call it. So just reading some of the draft profiles on him. This is Burry's blend of size, toughness, shooting, and defensive versatility highlights the traits of a future all-star caliber talent. He can play on and off the ball and has the ability to impact the game in multiple areas. He figures to see immediate burn thanks to his well-rounded game and projects as an NBA-ready contributor early on. The Arizona product draws comparisons to guards like Derek White and Drew Holiday, though continued growth as a lead playmaker will be a key part of his development. So I'm sure there are a lot of Bucks fans. You hear that Drew Holiday comparison, you're probably nodding your head and saying, yeah. Why not? Why wouldn't you? Right? You hear that? We know the type of player. We have witnessed the type of player that Drew Holiday was. I would say he's 6 foot. So he's 6'4", 215 pounds. Drew Holiday, for comparison, is same height. So you're kind of looking at that mold, that type of player. I would say maybe, this is just my opinion, but maybe Braden has a little bit more upside from an offensive standpoint. Now, Drew Holiday, I think, one of the more underrated aspects of his game, we always consider him as a defensive player. That's his mindset, and that's always been his, priority. But there has been times where he's exploded for some offensive games. And it kind of felt like at times during his Bucks tenure when he had that big offensive game, or where he would have a really good defensive game and then the offensive game kind of suffered a little bit. Remember we would kind of talk about that as like he just maybe would expend so much energy on the defensive side that maybe the offensive side lacked a little bit at times because he just used his legs. But, you're talking about Drew Holiday in 17 years. 17-year career for Drew Holiday. He averaged about 16 points per game throughout his career. Every single year he's averaged double-digit points besides his rookie year back in 2009 when it was 8 points. At the peak of his career, at the height, you're talking nearly 20 points per game. And you are getting a physical defender, physical player with Braden too. Drew Holiday was a physical player, not afraid to put his nose in there, to check up on defense. He seems to be the guy. He's one of the downfalls, but one of the knocks on him from some of the stuff I was reading out there is maybe needs to be more polished as the primary ball handler. Does have experience playing off the ball, on the ball. But if he's going to be the true point guard or a true point guard in his league, maybe just needs a little bit more polishing in that department. And then you got Nate. Blend of height, ball handling, playmaking, and foul drawing ability makes him an enticing prospect. He fits the mold of a modern multi-positional creator who can run pick and roll, operate off movement, and punish mismatches. Nate Ament's game at his size can draw comparisons to NBA players like Brandon Ingram and Andrew Wiggins. The shooting will determine where his ceiling lands, but everything else in the toolkit is already translatable. And if you were watching a little bit of the coverage last night, they made a note that apparently doctors said his growth spurts are still open, or his growth plates are still open. So he's potentially going to get bigger. And I think, and Jay Billis made the point last night too, this is a guy that drew a lot of fouls. So even though he's not the biggest guy on the floor, he's not afraid of contact, and he's not afraid of being physical. If he adds that weight, if he gets into the weight room and adds some muscle, he could be a really dominant player. Potential is there. Between these two, again, it seems like Braden is the one that's going to be a contributor quicker or right away, but the ceiling is higher for Nate. And we can only base draft picks, NBA picks on, again, potential, are they going to hit that mark? Are they going to reach their full ability that a lot of people think they can? All these guys are talented basketball players. It's kind of a numbers game at that point, too. If you think about all these basketball teams, you probably have 11 guys on your team and legit 8-9 play. So there's not a lot of jobs. There's not a lot of openings on a basketball team. And I feel like a lot of teams get a little bit anxious when younger players don't contribute right away or they don't perform right away. And these guys are coming in at 18, 19, 20 years old. Yeah, they played 1 year at college, but they're still developing and they're still growing. And, I mean, look at Jalen Brunson. Was originally drafted by Dallas. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was not drafted by the Thunder. Drafted by the Clippers, I believe. Heck, you even look at Kevin Porter Jr. this past year for the Bucks. Originally was drafted by the Bucks and shipped around a couple times and then back, and then maybe starting to develop into his game or find his game. I think the biggest key for these guys is, can the Bucks be patient? Might take a couple years. Can fans be patient? Can ownership be patient? Can they continue to develop and hopefully hit that potential that everybody thinks that these guys have? Patience is going to be the biggest thing. They can contribute right away. I mean, look at the Spurs. Look at you. You had guys contributing right away, but I think that's what's got a lot of Spurs fans and probably people with the Spurs excited, is like they're able to do it at that young of an age. Watch out. We're going to continue to get better. Thunder, kind of were in the same boat. A lot of youth. Took a little bit. Experience matters. Just getting stronger, quicker, bigger. It's going to be an adjustment for these guys. So I just hope that there's Bucks fans out there that aren't expecting, these dudes to come in and all of a sudden drop 25 a game, 25, 30 a game. I'm going to set the bar low. I'm intrigued with them. I like a lot of the stuff I hear. I think they could be a nice duo, and I hope that they're a nice duo for the foreseeable future for the Bucks. But how many times have we seen Bucks draft picks not work out, or they're shipped off really quick, or they're at the end of the bench? I think the one thing that does benefit these guys is Taylor Jenkins, the new head coach. Taylor Jenkins has that experience with developing these players. Has that experience of working with younger players, growing them, and helping them reach their max. But what are your thoughts on the Bucks picks? You can let us know. Hit us up with a quick text, 715-830-1065. 1912. We'll take a quick break. Talk some Brewers. Coming up after these quick words. Looking for the perfect summer hangout? Well, then you need to make your way to the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire. Enjoy some beautiful views overlooking the river, some great food, cold beverages, and some of the best live local music that you will find anywhere in the Chippewa Valley. Whether you're meeting friends after work or spending a summer evening outdoors, the VFW Post 305 is the place to be. Great views, great music, great times. That's the VFW Post 305, located on 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire. All right. Before we get back to some more baseball talk and such, are you excited about, is it Joshua Jefferson coming to the Minnesota Twin Timberwolves, their 28th overall pick?
And he's a net.
Okay, so you got
remember, he's part of the Julius Randle trade.
But it's not official yet.
That's right. So future Timberwolves, Joshua Jefferson. Gosh, I thought the Bucks had 2 picks last night. Amen to Heat, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, John Horst didn't say anything, right? I mean, at least going through the list, like the first round on, I'm just using the ESPN app as one example. At least they have their notes right next to all the picks, so you can pretty easily figure out where they're actually going, even if the logos are who actually had it. But granted, I love this. So starting with pick 16, I'm just going to go 16 through 30, and I'm going to list the notes, not the player, but the notes. Starting with 16, traded to, from, nothing, via, traded to, from, via, traded to, nothing, traded to. I think over half of those picks ended up with another team.
Yeah.
But they're still associated with officially logo-wise. Like I said, you can figure it out pretty easily, but that's where this whole, but officially, so this is going to be, again, in their Wikipedia page in 15 years, and let's say Joshua Jefferson goes on to become a 3-time first-team All-NBA guy. Yep. You'd be like, remember when the Timberwolves, he was drafted by the Wolves? No, yes, but no, I hate this.
Yeah. I mean, but it's true. You look on a lot of sports cards back in the day because, I mean, you look at Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Who was he drafted by? Charlotte
Hornets. Yes.
So, the old Vlade Divac for Kobe trade. Who won that one?
Back when that was a bit of a debate.
Mm-hmm.
Vlade Divac. Wow. So, yeah. We'll see who the Wolves pick at 33 tonight. Sorry, who the...
Because they got a couple second rounders, don't they?
Yeah. Okay, wait. Tap here. Round 2. Officially, pick 33 is the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll see who the Brooklyn Nets select tonight. So I know.
I love the fact, too, because, John Horst says, not talking about the Giannis thing because it's, league has to approve the trade. But I'll talk about Nate Ament. That's not officially yet, but I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Or the Bucks will post. I even looked on social media. The Bucks posted that they drafted, welcome Nate Ament and all. Nothing about Giannis yet.
Well,
it's this is so stupid.
I don't know why the NBA gets so hung up on the thing until it's. I know physicals. Sometimes that blows up trades. We see that across all sports. If that's the reason why, I get it. But come on. If you really were that concerned about it, you would tell your official partners, i.e. ESPN, to say nothing about it. Again, they've already moved on to getting Ant out of Minnesota. That
was a big topic yesterday.
Gosh, that is issue number 1. Anthony Edwards must leave the Timberwolves now.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't move on to that if the whole. I could go on a half-hour rant about that, by the way, and I'm really holding off on that. But they wouldn't do that if we weren't all acknowledging that Giannis Antetokounmpo is essentially now, here's my qualifier, a member of the Miami Heat.
Mm-hmm.
We know what's happening. Look, Jaime Jaquez is not going to have a failed physical and this whole thing gets blown up and Giannis is back with the Bucks next year. Okay?
It was, did you see, so Giannis was at a WNBA game last night, and he was on the big board. It was the Aces and Liberty game.
Okay.
So he was on at courtside, he was on a video board, and did say, new member of the Heat. And I was like, that was weird.
Yeah.
For me, that was weird. That's the first time.
First practice is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have all the Photoshops we had in the last 36 hours. It's going to be a whole nother thing when he actually is on the court. Eric Spoelstra is clapping him on. He's got red and black.
Yeah.
that's going to be a thing when it happens in the next few weeks or months, whenever it does.
This is a graphic here of every number one pick of the last 10 years. This is where the NBA draft is it's so different than the NFL draft, whereas, okay, not every pick works out for the NFL draft, but we always say the draft is a crapshoot. I really think the NBA draft is a big crapshoot because even some of the top picks, where are they now? They lose so much value. Ben Simmons, he's fishing now, literally, like competition fishing.
Are you sure that he's not doing some 3-pointers and like this really is the breakout year?
Remember, this was the year, too, that Philadelphia had back-to-back ones? Markelle Fultz.
It was really good when it started, and that was the process.
DeAndre Ayton. He's like with the Lakers now, but he's not.
He's had his moments, but again, did they live up to the number one billing, to use the sports cliche?
Is he going to get that max deal? No.
Zion
Williamson.
Looked like it for a moment.
Yeah. Well, you're Anthony Edwards. Yes.
That worked.
Cade Cunningham. Looks
like it's working right now.
Paulo Banchero.
Probably it's still uncertain now. Of course, we're getting newer, so we'll see. But
Wembanyama.
Yes. Risa Shea.
Yes. Thank you. You saved me on that one.
Know my French.
Yeah.
He's not a superstar, but he's not a bust either.
Mm-hmm. Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, good pick.
All signs point upward. And then the newest one.
Right. Well, and then if you go before that, Cat. Yeah, it's worked out. Andrew Wiggins.
Been around the league for a while.
He has. He's stuck around. Anthony Bennett. Dud.
That was, I think, even at that point, everybody was like, that was a weird one. So
Anthony Davis. Yeah, it's been up and down. I mean, he's Kyrie, John Wall, Blake. I mean, you get some good ones. Blake Griffin, Derrick Rose, and then you start to get to like the classic duds, Odin or Kwame Brown. Now we're getting back to like 2000. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there are some really good ones in there. There are some really not good ones in there. So will Debansa be that way? I don't know. All of this I don't know.
And I think a lot of it is just because, I mean, you go back to the Ament pick and where they were saying the coverage. Doctors have said his growth plates are still open, which my mind went to like this weird like plate in your body that's like open and then like it just like the graphic image of that.
What?
Like,
Could something get it? No.
But it's like because they're so young, and I think Bucks are guilty of this, but like a lot of teams, they don't become patient with these guys.
Yeah.
How many? Jalen Brunson, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
They're on teams that
they're original teams. No.
Right. Exactly.
I will say, at first blush, I think John Horst did a good job. As much as we can evaluate literally a half day after the picks were made, I think he did pretty well. Like these were kind of projected. Ament and Burries, I think, were the two. Either they were the two that were projected to, like they were a lot, oftentimes pushed to the Bucks. So then they got picked. I think Burries kind of reminds me of Ayo Dosunmu from the Wolves. Smart, quick. There's a lot to like there, I think. Ament.
He's your prototypical. The ceiling could be higher, but he's going to need more time.
He's got to fill out. Am I the only person when his mid-range ability was spotlighted where I went, the new Chris Middleton? It's not a perfect comp.
I thought you were going to say Drew Gooden.
Well, I probably shouldn't go there. So, but like I see where there's potential for both of them. But we don't know any of them. Like, again, you saw the list right there, and that's without looking through the whole drafts. And I say this about every draft. Most of these guys are not going to turn out. You see that with the NFL, and every big draft, it happens. We don't know. These could be two busts. These could be the two core members of the 2029, 2030 Bucks NBA Finals run. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
Shout out KG.
KG. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. So, yeah, I'm not going to grade it, but I like it. Do you like the picks?
I like it. Again, I don't want to be like, oh, this is the next, superstar. I hope they have time. I just hope the Bucks are patient. I hope ownership is patient with this. Because honestly, I feel like that was a big boost for Giannis, was that they were patient. They credit to him though too. He put in a lot of work because, I'm sure a lot of people are saying, oh, Nate's got to fill out. That was like Giannis. We said the same thing about Thon Maker though too. Thon Maker needed to fill out.
That didn't work.
And that didn't work.
But Giannis did.
So I like it. I like that it seems like they're physical guys, athletic, 3-and-D type of players. When you have a player comp of a Drew Holiday, that's probably going to get a lot of Bucks fans that are excited with Braden. So there's potential. I know that word gets used a lot. I use it a lot. I overuse it a lot. I get that, but that's kind of where we're at here.
This is it. It's a draft. This is potential.
Yeah. So
yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back to wrap up the third hour after these quick words. Summer cookout season is here, and nobody does summer grilling better than Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. From premium steaks and fresh burgers to brats and chicken, you will find quality and value throughout the store. Before your next cookout, stop by Mike's Star Market and stock up on the freshest ingredients around. You can visit them today at 2238 Heimstead Road, and make sure you follow their Facebook page too for any sales or deals or events that may be going on, like some car shows. Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire, helping make every summer gathering A delicious one. We'll get to some baseball talk coming up in the next hour, but I want to open this up for people to give us their thoughts on this. Mentioned it quick yesterday, but the shot clock for high school basketball getting closer to potentially returning. So just so we're all clear, and I'm going to be curious to get Brandon's take on this on Friday since he covers basketball, and he does have an article up on it on the Chippewa Herald if you want to check it out. But starting this upcoming season, for non-conference varsity games, it has to be a mutual agreement between the two that if they want to do the shot clock or not. And then it'll be put to a full vote in 2027. So kind of an experiment type of thing, I would say, is if that's the accurate way.
Fair enough.
To put it. So thumbs up, thumbs down, peeps. And I know a lot of people are saying long time coming because Minnesota, I believe, has it. I believe Illinois has it, and border states have it. So, I'm
fine.
What's your take, peeps?
Yeah.
Let us
I'm not
know.
an athlete. I'm good with it. Are you good with it?
Honestly, I'm good with it because here's my thing. There's one in college.
Yeah.
There's one in the pros. And I'm not saying everybody who plays high school is going to play college snap, but why not?
Get used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
It hasn't exactly caused college freshmen to be thrown off like, oh my gosh, a shot clock. What? Wisconsinites suck at it. No, they do fine in college. But additional similarity it's a good thing.
Yeah. So I'd be curious to hear if you don't want it, why not? Mm-hmm. And if you do like it, why not? Or why do you like
it?
Yeah. So hit me up. Hit us up. Shoot us a text. Shoot us a message. I'm all for it. So will it be an adjustment? For sure.
That's why they take a few years to do this, so you can get used to it.
Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people who play basketball, I mean, I used to, we already grow up with the thought of a shot clock by watching it. Mm-hmm. You know, we're watching these games on TV, so it's not like something that's completely brand new. Yeah. We're already familiar with it. I think the biggest adjustment, honestly, is going to be from coaches who have a very slow tempo offense.
Yes. And they've been coaching for a while, like, now I got to do it. That will be an adjustment. The kids will be fine. Mm-hmm. It's the coaches that'll take the most amount of time. They'll get used to that, too. They had to there was a 3-point transition at some point. Mm-hmm. Now there's a shot clock transition. They'll get used to it.
Yeah, and I think I'll just speak for myself. Again, I'm not a youngster or anything like that, but given the current style of how basketball is played, that younger people are probably watching it. It is a quicker game. It is a lot of scoring. It is a up-tempo. It's a fast-tempo one. I would think high school kids would embrace it. However, that probably also means you're going to have to run some extra ladders at practice and conditioning. So sorry, kids. Just,
Darn, you're going to have to be more in shape.
Touchdowns were the worst. Oh, I hated touchdowns. God, I hated that. And I always had, I don't know why, but it was always my shoes. I could never stop on a dime and sliding across the line. I couldn't just, hated ladders.
Practice.
Hated ladders, hated touchdowns, hated it all. I hated running. I hated it. But it was one of those at practice, I sucked at running ladders and touchdowns. Mm-hmm. But you get me on a court on a breakaway, I could run. But that stuff, I just know.
You seem like the movie character, like he's really bad in practice stuff, but somehow when you actually get him on the court, now here comes the montage.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was like an extra gear.
Yeah.
Maybe I just needed something to
be in a game environment.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So, but
okay,
I will be curious to hear from Brandon on this take because I'm sure he's got, he's talked to some coaches and get the vibe, and he's been watching high school basketball for how many years and how big of it. Maybe we're downplaying this. Maybe
it's a unanimous like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or the other way, like you said, like maybe they're, whoa, what are we doing?
Yep.
We'll find out.
I mean, I think a lot of us have seen games, whether it was like a state game, teams just holding it.
Again, the 4-corner stall.
Yeah.
Which that's the Dean Smith reference for youngins that don't know. But you could do that. Mm-hmm. You want to not shoot for an entire quarter. You could do that. You can do that, but not for much longer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, all right, just a few minutes left to the top of the hour. We have Rando from Chippewa Falls says, I like the shot clock starting in high school basketball. I hated it when years ago I would watch McDonald and Chippewa play Regis, and Regis would get a lead and then just pass the ball around.
Yep.
A lot of teams would do that. I remember watching when I was a kid a state team doing that at the state tournament.
That's what they. That was a long time technique because it's legal. You can do it. Now it won't be.
Yep.
I mean, you can still play a slower offense if you really want. 35 seconds is still 35. It's not like a 20-second shot clock, but you can't go for minutes in the future.
Yep. So, okay. So we'll talk some more baseball coming up here in the next hour. Brewers series finale against the Reds. Looking for the sweep as we are inching closer and closer to the 50% mark, halfway through the season. After this upcoming Cubs series,
Nice.
It'll be about halfway through the season. So, did you? By the way, speaking of Cubs, did you see the call from last night that got Counsell ejected?
No, I know he got ejected. I did not see the call itself.
So it is a rule. He acknowledged it's a rule, but he said it's a dumb rule and it's a stupid rule. And I've never seen this before. So Michael Bush, I think was at the plate, but Pete Crow Armstrong, full count. What do you do on a full count when you're on first base? You steal.
Yeah.
So he stole, but then it was a walk. But Pete Crow Armstrong, and I'm not a Pete Crow Armstrong fan, so I'm not trying to defend him. Anybody who coaches baseball, you don't look for, you just go, right? He slides into second. They put a tag on him, but you're thinking, okay, it's a walk. It's a moot point, right?
Right.
Mets challenged. And the call was overturned. He was out.
Because he ran?
Because he left the base. After he slid in, they determined that he left the base, even though it was a walk, and he was awarded that.
I don't think I've heard of that happening before.
Yeah.
Ever? So you just, okay, I mean, this may sound like baseball 101. I don't want to be that guy, but so if you get a walk, you go to the other base, does your foot always stay on? Is it literally like because I've seen so many examples of the guy that holds the baseball behind and then quick tags and like, ha ha.
The replay review determined he was tagged out when he lost contact with second base at one point.
I mean, I guess that's very much letter of the law. But these guys have their feet on, like you don't just like casually walk around the base. Like they're there until the pitcher's set and then you can start to lead off. Just trying to figure out right, because then the pitcher can throw it back over. So, okay.
This is going to open up a lot of things. Either more teams are going to be looking at replays for that, or if I'm a coach and manager, I'm like, you keep that hand and foot, you call time, you do whatever.
That's okay. Yeah, it's baseball fundamentals. Yeah, just stay on the base. Do that unless you know the ball is somewhere else. Stay on the base.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you. I never saw that. I don't think I can. I don't think I remember anything. But I would love somebody to go through all the videos and
well,
see,
if that's true, then credit to the Mets.
Yeah, somebody's like, hey,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. 3 in, 1 more to go. We'll take a quick break. We got some news. We'll be back after these few words. It is the final hour kicking off right now on this Wednesday morning, June 24th. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your work day here as we are making a turn on this week. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk as the Brewers will, series finale against the Reds. Looking for the sweep later on tonight. First pitch, 6:10. Coverage begins on your radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. At 5:35. Then off day tomorrow for the Crew, where they will welcome the Chicago Cubbies for a weekend series in Milwaukee. So we'll hit that up. We'll get back to some more hoops talk with the Bucks and their draft last night with a couple of lottery picks. If you got some analysis or thoughts on those two players that you would like to share with the rest of the class, please send us a message on the Section 105 chat or the Shoe Doctors bullpen line. It is a What If Wednesday, so give us your what if scenarios. Have a lot of fun with that one. And what are we doing here Wednesday? What are we doing? Like, give me what's the sports thing that's out there right now that you're just like, dude, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So maybe a lot of you with the Giannis trade. That's been a popular one. So let's kick off this hour chatting some football as we're chatting again with head coach Jim from the Eau Claire Axemen. Coach, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Doing really good. How about yourself?
Not bad, sir. Not bad. You're getting ready. Can you believe you're already halfway through the season, Coach? I was looking at the schedule, and it's like, is it flying by for you this year?
Yes, very much so. And what's kind of crazy is I coach football at Memorial as well again this year, and we talk. The seniors always have a talk about how fast things go, and soon they were a freshman coming in, and next thing they know, after a blink of an eye, it's the senior season is upon them, and it's the same thing here. We're already through our fourth game, coming up on our fifth this weekend, and then we have our 4th of July bye week. So, yeah, it's rolling by really fast.
So you got the St. Joe Goats. You're going to be visiting them this Saturday. When it comes to, this is the first time you'll be playing against St. Joe this season. How much time do you put into scouting? Is that a big part of your game plan, or what's a typical game plan or game week look like for you?
So, and I could take you through kind of day by day, just a brief synopsis. So Mondays, the players came in about 3 weeks ago, and we had our long first trip was down to the Ozarks, I believe it was, and so you prepare, and then Monday's your recovery day and lift day. Tuesday is typically our D day, and then Wednesday, like tonight, will be offensive day. Tomorrow will be on Thursday will be O&D walkthroughs and special teams. This Friday then will be travel day, which is about 8-hour bus trip. So by the time you're done, you have a couple stops. It's about 9 hours. And then Saturday, you get up in the hotel and we have another walkthrough and check out. And then you got a long day ahead of you. You get to the stadium and kind of get things prepared, and then you go play the game. But yeah, we watched the scout film last night. Defense has their defensive meeting, and we break down film, and it usually lasts about an hour and a half. And then tonight, offense will, and that's pretty much it for the week.
So looking at St. Joe, what is it about them from your film study and such that has kind of been the focus for you guys, and how to prepare for them and attack them?
Yeah, in 7-man football, you have the center who can't go out in a pass for a pass play. He must stay in and block. And then on defense, nose tackle can either stay there or rush. So therefore, you have at least one rusher, 2 people have to stay in. So now you're at 6-on-6. And so you just try to find who their best player is, whether you're playing cover 1, cover 2, or cover 3. You try to game plan for their best players, and and then and try to get ourselves the best situation one-on-ones, just as they do, and then we hopefully make more plays than the opponent and try to put the W in the win column.
So your weekend game is away, but then you got 3 more games, as you mentioned, the July 4th bye week, and 2 of your final 3 are at home at the Sonnentag Center. And I know on July 11th, it's going to be Military and First Responders Appreciation Night, so that should be a fun night as well. You've got the family 4-pack, 4 tickets, 4 soft drinks, and your choice of 4 slices of pizza, hot dogs, or 4 brats. It's a perfect family atmosphere, right, Coach?
Yes, sir. And we're hoping we get a big crowd on the 11th of July. It's a special night for all of those people who rush into danger, or those who are protecting our freedoms, and past and present. And so we are ready to honor those people. And so last game here, home game, we lost with 2 seconds to go. And that was a ruckus crowd. They got into it. First half wasn't so good. Second half, we picked it up. And if we play a whole 4 quarters like we did the second half of last Saturday's game against the Iowa Woo, we'll be just fine. And we have a really tough team. Guys in the locker room they're not pressing. They're together, and we preach family. And we don't always win on the field or in life, but you just keep picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and placing one foot in front of the other, and hopefully we can get a win and just play 4 quarters of football.
Before I let you go, Coach, if somebody were to ask you, well, I guess I am asking you this, to describe the makeup of your team or the personality of your team, how would you describe your ball club right now?
They never quit, and they always say your team goes as your coach goes. Kind of gets the identity of their head coach or coaches, and this game is not about me, and this team is not about me. It's about us, and we always talk about we. And I just got a bunch of scrappy guys, and take 3 or 4 plays from each game. We could very easily be 3-1, and we always talk about this every day, little things, and if we do the little things right, they don't become big things, and that's what we're trying to eliminate. That's what's kind of bit us a little bit, is we've just made some mental mistakes that we shouldn't be making at this level, but they happen, and that therefore, if you don't overcome those, then you get the L. And yeah, we just got a bunch of scrappy guys, and we got some new guys in because we're banged up. A couple of corners, and a couple of those guys can play receiver. Yeah, we just have an injury bug right now, and it's tough. But these guys are resilient, and they hate to lose just as much as anybody else. And so we're going to try and go 1-0 this weekend down at the St. Joseph's Goats, and try to get a win. And we get them back again here at home, and then we get the Iowa Woo down there, and so yeah, we're just looking forward to this weekend. We got to get in the win column, and our backs are against the wall, and we told the guys we just got to come out swinging, start fast, and let the chips fall where they may.
Well, Coach, best of luck this weekend on the road, and looking forward to following you guys. And enjoy the bye week next week, too. Rest up, and then a strong finish to the rest of the season, where 2 of your 3 games will be at the friendly confines of the Sonnentag Center in front of your home crowd. So best of luck this weekend, Coach.
Thank you, Dan, and thanks to the listeners and those people at Axman Nation. Come and cheer us on the next 2 home games. You're our 8th man, and we're looking forward to it, and appreciate this radio show, and appreciate all of our sponsors, and I appreciate my players and my coaches and ownership upper level, and those guys I coach with at Memorial. love those guys like they're my brothers. And so, yeah, I appreciate it very much. And good day to everybody else. And have a great week. And we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
You got it. There you go. There's Coach Jim from the Eau Claire Axemen joined us this morning, previewing the upcoming game on the road against St. Joe's, and then they'll have that bye week and then return home to the Sonotag Center. We'll take a quick break, and we'll talk some baseball coming up after these few words. Summer puts your vehicle to the test, and AJM Automotive is ready to help you pass that test. With 2 convenient Eau Claire locations, AJM Automotive can handle everything from oil changes and inspections. Spit it out, Dan. Tires and major repairs before your next road trip. Make sure your vehicle is ready for wherever summer takes you. Trust the team at AJM Automotive. 2 locations, 1 commitment, keeping you safely on the road all summer long. What the heck? What's wrong with your Twins and going up losing 12-3 to the Dodgers? For crying out loud.
This is what the Twins do all year. They have good runs and bad runs and good runs and bad runs. They just had a really good run I mean, they were blowing out Texas, and now they're in a bad run, and now they're getting blown out by the Dodgers, which I guess if you're getting blown out by the Dodgers, it's not exactly a shock. Yeah, so they are one game off of last year's pace. They've had all these streaks, and they're basically identical to last year.
Solid.
Yeah, so, yeah. And yet, not that far from the playoffs still.
Yeah. Thank you, AL Central.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Jeremy Zoll's, like, we have no plans to trade. Anytime you say, like, no plans or he is currently, I'm like, oh. I mean, not that I would be brokenhearted if Byron Buxton were traded, but, I mean, I given that Buxton is pretty demonstrably anti-trade, I would think the Twins would kind of ride with that a little bit more. You got plenty of other good trade options. And, yeah, I know we talked about Buxton could have a return, but go with it. Don't be like, well, as of now, we are not – come on, guys. But, yeah, so they are who they are. They're not that good, but they're going to be streaky.
We are who we thought we were? Or they are
to
who
use former
Green.
Vikings coach, then Cardinals coach, Denny Green.
So I'm going to get off on a little bit of tangent. You just mentioned you wouldn't be that brokenhearted if Byron Buxton was traded.
Yeah. Not like, I mean, it would suck, but I like.
Who was, so with the Giannis thing, who was it for you, for your teams, when they left? So somebody had mentioned Kirby Puckett, even though he was forced to retire. But, you know, was there anybody on any of your teams where you were kind of like, oh, so like for me it was Favre, just because I was like, oh, he retired. He wasn't, you know, that's where
or like where they go on to another team ultimately.
Yeah.
So there's still like, oh, he's out there. Well, I mean, I can tell you again, right now I'm holding off rant time. Right now it's Anthony Edwards pretty clearly that the NBA media has deemed it official that he must leave the Timberwolves. Side note, why, someone pointed out, why is LaMelo Ball not getting the same treatment? Why? You don't have to have an answer. It's a rhetorical question, but why?
Well, because he's with the Hornets, and that used to be Jordan's team. I don't know. I'm just trying to say.
I know. Like, it's a comparable situation. That's one where really should be asking up, but apparently.
Well, I mean, Charlotte surprised a lot of people. You got Khan over there now, too. So, you know.
So now, future's bright. But Timberwolves, oh my gosh, what a. Back to the actual question.
Kevin Garnett won't let that happen.
No, they're all, already it's like ownership is cutting costs and they need to, dude.
Now, if this was Glenn Taylor, you'd probably feel a little
Yes, I'd be like, actually, maybe you should leave for your benefit. Historically, this has been a recurring theme, probably more so with coaches for Minnesota sports. We're always concerned, I can say we because I'm one of those fans, we're always concerned that someone's going to want to go to some other market, some other big market and abandon flyover territory where no one wants to be. And it usually doesn't happen, usually because that figure kind of, I don't want to say flames up, but like Gophers coaches saw this happen so often. Oh, no, Tubby Smith. Oh, no, Dan Munson. Oh, no, Jerry Kill. Oh, no, Glenn Mason. They're all going to, and in pretty much every case, they ended up getting fired. They stuck around. They didn't leave. I think Lou Holtz scarred a generation of Minnesota sports folks because he came, got the Gophers, like they sure seemed on a really upward trajectory, and then almost in the middle of the night, kind of did a Baltimore Colts, to use another mid-'80s reference, left, didn't say anything to anyone, just bolted to Notre Dame. Yeah, I know that was the place he was essentially allowed to go, but it was a shock. And what could have been a run of dominance never happened. So we're always thinking that's going to happen. Kirby Puckett was probably the best example I can think of historically. We're like, oh no, in the early 90s. After the World Series, before he signed his new contract, I think that was after the 92 season. I think it was early calendar year 1993. You can double check on that, but I think that's when he signed his extension. And there was concern he was going to leave. This is right before the strike, but at the point where we're like, ooh, free agency could come up. That one, I remember as a kid being genuinely worried Puckett was going to leave. They signed him. Whew. In terms of a guy actually leaving, though, I mean, there was a little bit of that with KG, but by the time he left, it made sense. The Timberwolves weren't who they were anymore. It was a rockier team by then.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of remember it was Stephon Marbury, and I mean when Marbury was remember that first. I don't want to say big three because they immediately think of the Celtics, but it was Garnett, Marbury, and Tom Gugliotta. Those remember the late 90s Timberwolves when they started getting good? And for a few years, that looked like something. Of course, you remember the KG and Marbury ads. Tastefully done. You can fill in the rest of that ad off the air. And then Marbury starts being like, I want to leave, because he wanted to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was never the same, obviously. Starbury. Remember that term?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. So there was a little bit with the Wolves there. But in terms of someone who actually then left and did much better, you didn't really have that with the Vikings that I can think of. You didn't really have that with the Twins. Maybe Johan Santana, maybe. I mean, there are a lot of minor examples. You could say Louis Varland right now, but there's not like the obvious, they go somewhere else, they win, and they could have done it for us, which you had with LeBron with the Cavaliers in 2010, and then 2 years later wins a championship. And there's probably Bucks fans right now going, is he going to win with the Heat?
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, probably not. And he did deliver a championship. And I can't really, that's a long way of saying as I'm going through all these examples, there's not that obvious could have been. Maybe more so with the team. Maybe the North Stars. They go on and win a championship down in Dallas. Still been no Stanley Cup in Minnesota in history. You'd think there'd be one like the Knicks in New York with basketball.
I haven't had a chance yet to read. Apparently, Jim Owczarski's piece is pretty. Have you read it?
I have not. Side note, hopefully none of our listeners is this way. Don't do the paywalled response to that. No bleep. The Journal said no required subscriptions. You need to go on social media and say, I was going to read it, but there's a paywall. Yeah, idiot.
Ooh, okay.
I see that all the time. People say, yeah, paywalled. Shut up. We know it's paywalled. Then buy a subscription. It's been that way for a while. I have not, but this looks like the Now They Tell Us article that I was wondering.
Yeah, there's some stuff. I'm only seeing clips of it right now because I have not had a chance to read it. One part in here is Giannis referenced aloud without prompt a comment by Bucks co-owner Wes Edens a day earlier, whatever this was. It's just a portion of it, saying the franchise legend would either sign a contract extension or be traded. Giannis felt it cornered him. Quote, let's see if they have the balls to trade me, he said. He quickly looked down. They're going to trade me, he added far more quietly. 3 months later, the Bucks did exactly that. Some other stuff to come through here. Apparently, Giannis wanted Doc fired before the season began. According to the article, Giannis wanted Doc fired before the start of this past season, but he never informed the team explicitly. After his involvement of the Griffin hire, he didn't want the reputation of directly influencing coaching changes. There was just a total breakdown of communication over the past few years between Giannis and team officials for various reasons. Apparently, he didn't even, according to part of this too, he stopped answering phone calls from the Bucks. Didn't want trainers with him this offseason. Says here, there were a part of it too, major culture shift in this story outside of the coaching changes centers around Chris Middleton for Kuzma. It even noted Giannis saying that he missed his guys. Yep. That, I think, was a big...
His guys, I'm always a little reticent, but, hey, that's a factor.
Oh, God. Doc Rivers apparently had the Bucks install a $90,000 golf simulator at their practice facility.
I wish you could see my face right now.
Yeah, it says one of the many things, Giannis stopped answering phone calls by the Bucks. No dialogue could be had about his future. He also refused to let any Bucks trainers be with him this offseason. This sounds like Aaron Rodgers. You got to FaceTime me if you got to get a hold of me. Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
But it's there's a...
Giannis became paranoid after the Luka trade that stars could be traded at any time. According to Jim Owczarski, after the Luka trade, Giannis started to slowly distance himself from Milwaukee. The ironic part is that Dallas tried to trade Luka for Giannis instead of for AD. The Bucks wouldn't even entertain it. There was no version of trading Giannis they were never going to entertain. John Horst spent much of the season scouting NBA draft prospects in person. He traveled with the team a lot less for this reason. So, yeah, okay. Communication again seems to be a big factor in this thing.
Just based on the excerpts, and again, excerpts, not the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, for one, has any hometown, I guess hometown in terms of like college years, et cetera, Wisconsin sports figure torched their legacy more than Doc Rivers?
It seems like from some of the stuff I'm reading.
Okay, no, Craig Counsell is probably the answer, but there's still more to write.
But from what I'm reading, it seems a lot of finger pointing is like the Doc Rivers hires what put the nail or really kind of set this thing in motion and ended the Giannis era. Wow. Okay.
And okay, let's rewind to that. I thought it was a good hire at the time. I was wrong. What did you think at the time?
I thought, okay, the phrase I put out there was, who else? Like, who else were you going to bring in? If you're going to fire Adrian, at that point, who were you going to bring in? Because you missed out on Nick Nurse. You missed out on all those other, who else was out there? I mean, were you just going to go with an interim coach for the rest of the year and just kind of waste the...
Darvin!
But he was with the Lakers.
Right. He can't do that. They're not going to be like, sure, go ahead.
I think we have to go... You don't fire Adrian Griffin and just make the move at the end of the year if you wanted to move on from him.
You shouldn't have hired Adrian Griffin.
That too. But if Giannis wanted him...
And then Giannis was reticent to...
Yeah.
So that's why you see a lot of no one looks awesome out of this. Doc Rivers looks like maybe the villain a little bit, but on the other hand, he was brought in because of the circumstance. So it's like, well, what do you expect? If you brought in Rivers in another circumstance, maybe he comes across better, I guess. It was a mess that one thing compounded another is what I'm getting from these excerpts, and I can't imagine a full read is going to come across different.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have money to buy a subscription, read the story.
It's only like $1.
I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah. This is. Yeah, I think
we'll hear more about this, I'm sure.
I think if you are Doc Rivers, don't come back to Wisconsin anytime soon, probably.
Just wait it out a little while.
Yeah, that just that doesn't sound good.
No.
It doesn't.
$90,000 golf simulator?
The only part in this, though, too, is, okay, I get, this is where I'm going to go after Giannis here for just a little bit. Just a little bit. If you wanted Doc Rivers gone, you can't you can't have the influence right away for a coach hire, but then be nervous, scared off from the repercussions of it didn't work, so I don't want to say anything about the next one. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't have both.
Right.
And
why did you do that? Well, you should have said something. I didn't want to say anything. Well,
and then maybe don't be involved right away. We're all human. I mean, come on. Put yourself in those positions. If you knew you were the team's best player and they wanted your input, you're probably going to get your input. Everybody is.
Of course. If you and at any business you work at, if someone asks you about a major decision, yes, you may put a qualifier on it, but you're going to say something.
Right. And, okay, it didn't work out. Okay, you don't want to have the perception. It's the NBA. It's pro sports. Everybody's. Right. I mean, LeBron has that perception.
Hello.
For crying out loud. I mean, all these players.
It happens in all the sports we've seen. Hello, Aaron Rodgers happens. You see that? Yeah. If they're significant enough, they're probably going to be asked their input to some degree. We talked about this so many times with regard to Giannis. You want to have some input without making them the general manager. Mm-hmm. Once they become the general manager, Usually it does not work out. They usually don't have player personnel acumen. Some of them do, but the vast majority don't.
Mm-hmm.
They're an athlete. They're not someone who's going to transition right to the front office.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to have to read this whole thing.
Yeah. Wow. That's going to be a good one. I know the rest of the story is going to be good.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a quick break. Back with plenty more, though, coming up after these few words. I'm just reading a couple more excerpts until I can get to the whole thing. But this is another part of it. Giannis let it be known he did not like locker room leaks, but his mental state was chronicled nearly all season by anonymous sources. He pleaded for accountability, but then tried to pass off those reports as someone else's doing. He would call his teammates selfish, but then stand on a visiting team's court with a former coach and yell about how that person would make sure he got the ball. Oh, all right.
Okay.
So I'm seeing some stuff, too, where it doesn't necessarily paint the greatest picture of Giannis either. I saw another one where apparently Chris Middleton was the Giannis whisperer, where Middleton could, like, criticize Giannis, and Giannis would listen and respect it. So, Heat fans, welcome Chris Middleton to your team.
Probably.
Probably what's going to happen. So
all the Antetokounmpo brothers and Chris Middleton.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, this is giving me shades of Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
Kind of a little bit, yeah. Yeah.
Can Randall Cobb play for the Heat? Sorry.
Trying to think of the old, who are some of, so Giannis says his guys. Who are his guys? Drew Holiday? Won a championship with him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's
Dame's
true.
coming back, so Blazers might not need a point guard, so.
Right.
Yeah. Bring Drew over there.
We're going to do some amalgam of the
Brooke Lopez. Let's just run it back now.
Yeah, some amalgam of all the early 20s Bucks stars are going to play for the Heat the next few years.
Yep. I mean, if
is Coach Bud going to be an assistant?
Could be, but if Kevin Love's going to be with the Lakers now, like they said, hey, it's 2018, 17 all over again, 2020 all over again.
We're really going to do this.
Yeah. I got to deep dive into this thing. There seems to be a lot of stuff in here.
Boy.
I don't know. Okay, I'll be honest. I did not think we were going to get to a Packer quarterback drama level breakup. It sure seems like we are. This sure seems like this is another Packers quarterback drama thing.
When does Giannis have his welcoming back event? Like Brett Favre's?
Well, it's different because he will be playing on that court this year.
Right, but like what are we talking the jersey retirement ceremony? And by the way, this is probably far enough in the future that I think it's going to be on a normal time frame. We're not going to have negotiations and such.
Yeah. I mean, what? He's probably going to play for 8 more years, maybe 8 more years.
8 max. I mean, was it 32? I could see him probably. He's a unicorn. Probably will play till around 40 or so. I very much could see a return to Milwaukee towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the ownership.
Kevin Garnett.
Kinda, yeah, something like that. Of course, the one now, I know ownership could be interesting. That's because that immediately you say Kevin Garnett, and then think of the ownership situation there. Now that was particular to a Glenn Taylor thing, and even though it sure looks like ownership, well, front office in general, management, but even though it's sure looking like ownership and Giannis were not on the same page towards the end, I don't think.
So when we say ownership, is that Jimmy Haslam?
That's the next question. Who is owning the Bucks in, let's say, 7-8 years, when we're talking about either a one-season return to cap it off or a retirement ceremony? Is it Haslam? Is Wes Edens still involved? I wouldn't be surprised. And again, they're getting up there enough in age you could see them wanting to sell off. Values are going up, et cetera, et cetera. Eden's got enough. We've talked about it a bunch of times. Eden's hedge fund guy. It's got international stuff. It's got a Premier League team that's back in the Champions League. Yes, I'm going to keep flaunting that a little bit. That's my favorite. But that's true. That's where the value is for Eden's. I wouldn't be surprised if he checks out and focuses more on that.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Rodgers is going to buy a bigger stake.
Probably no. Haslam's in on this, but are the Bucks his number one thing? I mean,
Browns is probably his
number
number
and he's
one,
got a fancy new stadium that's going to probably host a Super Bowl. It's one Super Bowl, but that is in the future there. Mm-hmm. I could see another person investing. Could Giannis Antetokounmpo be that future investor in the Milwaukee Bucks?
He's an investor in the Brewers.
Right. I could very much see that happening. Now, I don't think he'd be one of the big three if they want to do that.
I don't think he'd invest if it's the current if Jimmy Haslam's there.
No, I like how much is this? How much of this? Because there's also that third guy, Jamie Dimon, not the well-known New York guy, but the other Jamie Dimon, and he seems to be a non-factor with this. So how much of this is Giannis versus Haslam, and how much of this is Giannis versus Edens? Because I'm seeing both. From what I'm hearing there, and from what
I wonder if it's Haslam, because let's just kind of go with the timeline here. I think another person that left that we're not talking about. What about Peter Fagan?
Yeah.
Because he left early in the middle of this year, president and such, and I don't know if we ever got like a real reason.
Not really.
It just seemed like when Haslam got on board, everything started to kind of really.
He was
get out of
changing
control.
stuff up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't necessarily mean it will be bad, but he was making some decisions, and well, he's a major co-owner, I guess so. So maybe that was it. Maybe Haslam came in more decisively. Like, okay, we need to do this. You need to say this. Doesn't mean he's right. But maybe that was pushing stuff more, so that necessarily creates friction if you are more assertive in what you want to do. That's the impression I get from Jimmy Haslam.
So I just kind of did a quick Google one, just to search. I was curious who was the big driving force for Doc. And it says ownership, and it says Jimmy Haslam. I don't know if this one is, I'd have to double check it, but it says reports confirmed that while general manager John Horst had a preference for Kenny Atkinson, ownership ultimately stepped in to heavily back and secure Rivers. And remember, while Adrian Griffin was still coach, Rivers was a consultant.
Yes. I do remember that.
So, yeah, I didn't see this, but I'd have to again read this. Apparently, Doc Rivers later revealed that he was in daily communication with Jimmy Haslam. So it was Haslam's guy. Great. We have another owner that's tiptoeing into areas that he shouldn't. Just be an owner and just sign checks, for crying out loud. God.
Cleveland Browns fans, handshake emoji. Milwaukee Bucks fans. And again, Giannis doesn't come out of this looking perfectly, but the more I think about this, Haslam's going to want to have more of an imprint on this going forward. So this is, we're in the early stages of the Jimmy Haslam era. Sorry.
Yeah. Man.
Sorry. It kind of sucks.
It does suck.
Like, I don't think.
What are we doing here? There you go. That's our Wednesday.
Thank you, Taylor. Okay, at the very least, I don't think we have to worry about Jimmy Haslam suddenly going to be like, ooh, but what if I moved him to Seattle? No, they're in for a while. I could also see him cashing out at a certain point too. Like if the Bucks get better as the years go on, and again, like I said, he owns the Crew, and the Columbus Crew do fairly well by MLS standards. I mean, unless there's something I'm missing from Columbus where they're like, actually, but I don't think it's that bad. He might wait for the Bucks to get better. I wouldn't rule it out. Like the Taylor Jenkins hire be pretty good. These early draft picks seem to be good. Like there's other stuff that looks okay by what the Bucks are doing right now. So they get better, NBA values go up, the European investment happens, we get expansion, future contracts, all of that. I know there's not a media rights deal coming up anytime soon. All of that happens, and maybe Jimmy Haslam's like, all right, now I'm going to cash out. Maybe go for some other team in some other sport somewhere, I don't know what. And then he's gone.
Yeah.
I say, yeah, sorry, guys, it's going to suck. Maybe it's not.
Bucks
Maybe
or
not.
Badger football, who's going to have the quicker turnaround?
Well, okay, I'll say Badger football just because
they got a head start almost.
It kind of did, yeah. Like I think they have bottomed out. I mean, if it gets worse next year, then I don't know what's going on. But I think they're already making enough other changes, and just the dynamic of the NBA takes a little bit longer. I could see the Badgers getting better.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a quick break, and we'll be back to wrap it up with some picks after these few words. All right, here we go. Let's wrap up this Wednesday morning with some picks. We'll go to the Major League Baseball world. We've got Rangers, Marlins. Who are you rolling with?
I'll go Rangers.
I'm going to go Rangers. I'm going to go Rangers, too. You got Jacob deGrom on the mound. So, Cubs, Mets.
Mets. Debating.
I'll go Cubs.
Okay.
Cleveland versus the White Sox.
I'll take Cleveland.
Yeah, I'll go Cleveland on this one, too. Boston, Colorado.
I'll take the Red Sox.
I'll go Boston. You've got Baltimore versus the Angels.
Angels.
Yep, Angels. We've got, because you got Soriano and Kansas City, Tampa.
This time I'll take the Royals.
I'm going to go Rays, Griffin Jackson.
Oh.
So, Yankees, Tigers.
Yanks.
Scooble's on the mound. Does that change it for you?
I'll still take the Yankees.
I'll go Tigers.
This is the game that makes them forced to be a trade.
We've got Mariners, Pittsburgh.
I'll go Skeens on the mound.
Nope.
Mariners.
Braxton is, and then Brian Woo. I'll go Mariners. Philadelphia, Washington.
I'll take the Nats in this one.
I'm going to go with Nationals, too. Let's go Astros, Blue Jays. Blue Jays. Game 2, Cubs, Mets.
Game 2? I'll take the Cubs in that one.
I'll go Mets in this one. So we split 1-1. How about that? Sure. Let's go with Dodgers, Twins. Ohtani versus Joe Ryan.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll still take the Dodgers.
Yeah, I'll take Dodgers, too. Braves, Padres.
Braves, Padres. I'll go Pods.
I'm going to go Padres, too. Athletics, Giants.
Giants, even though I know they're becoming a tire fire.
I'll go Athletics. And then will the Brewers get the sweep with Shane Drone on the mound, Rhett Lauder going for the Reds?
I'll say they don't get the sweep. I'll go Reds in this one. I was wrong about Sproat.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see.
It's going to be a game that's going to be the complete opposite of the first two, where it was just pitching and no offense for either team.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like an 8-6 game tonight, and I'll go Brewers. Yeah. So we'll roll with the sweep.
Okay.
But yeah, I keep seeing more of this stuff kind of leaking out about this piece, and
the Journal Sentinel story, Now They Tell Us story, the deep dive. It's a good one. I mean, and again, I haven't read it. You haven't read it, but all accounts are this is a thoroughly reported story.
Mm-hmm. It's something you don't want to hear when it's your favorite team and your favorite player in these breakups. Packers fans or Wisconsin sports fans are probably just going to be, yep, okay, so it's again another Green Bay quarterback drama piece.
Yeah, kind of what it is.
But it's like one of those two, and this is where I kind of went back to, how do these media people like Jim, did they know this for a long time and just waiting to write it?
Again, that's the Brian Curtis, Now They Tell Us story. Exactly. You hear that complaint. Okay. A lot of sports and politics seem to mirror each other. You hear this a lot in politics. The person that holds their scoops for the book that comes out after the election. And then the partisans who would get most upset about it, for whatever it is, they will then get angry at the author, like, why didn't you report that before? That could have made a difference. Well, there are multiple motivations involved. It's usually not as easy as, yeah, I want to sell a book. That's part of it. Or have a story get published. But in a lot of cases, I think to a degree, a lot of these bits of information, this is not a book, this is a story, you probably cannot reveal ahead of time. I mean, you could, but you're going to lose your access that allows you to report other stuff. Mm-hmm. There are varying degrees of that. That's kind of how journalism has worked for many decades. It's how it will work for many decades. Mm-hmm. You want this access, you're going to have to allot for some of this to happen. Plus, again, this is sports. If they hold a scoop for a story, big whoop, it's sports. This is not also like current events. But I'm sure there was some reason they could not say this.
There was a little piece on here, too, that one of the themes I'm seeing people talk about is that Giannis wanted these things to happen. Like, he wanted Dame, but not at the cost of a Drew Holiday. Well,
right. Well,
you can't have both.
Yeah.
And it's something that's the theme I'm seeing a lot of people saying he doesn't realize that, or he didn't realize that you can't have Dame but also keep Drew Holiday. It's like you can't have all. It's It's not like playing Madden. We use that reference all the time, right? When you're building a team. It's not Madden. You can't collect all these players.
This team was snubbed. This player was snubbed. Okay, so who do you take out?
Right. Okay. And it's not as easy. Well, you should have traded this or this or this and keep. It doesn't work that way.
Other teams are aware of what you're trying to do.
Right. Exactly. So, all right. Well, we'll dive into that. So, yeah. Okay. Tomorrow, Thursday. It'll be a 3 up, 3 down Thursday. I wonder what will be up and what will be down for our kind of stock report-esque Thursday. So that's your homework assignment for tomorrow. You can start to send those on over whenever you'd like. Have a good rest of your day. We'll be back at it, same place, same time tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. See you then.